The Tape Never Lies Network.
The tape never lies. Tape never lies.
Starts now.
The tape never lies.
Preview.
With the announcement of the first pick of the night.
With the first pick. Taking his time all day to throw it. Buys more time. Side on the first pick. First pick. Nothing. Williams. First pick. First pick. First pick. Here goes Caleb Williams. First pick. First pick. Touchdown.
History of Bears quarterbacks discussed.
Really bad
It's been a long time since said luck. For 30 years, that was something I could stand by. Now let's get a guy who can elevate the franchise. And with the ninth pick, it's all about the right fit. Opposite of Montez Sweat, who would I get? Like Latu, what adverse might slip? Trade back, recoup capital and find hits. Build trenches, add more weapons. Development is a return on investment. Mock drafts only add to the questions. Do we start addressing the lack of protection? What
Bringing that light.
and what a shame, say the tape never lies. So now that we're on the same page, the next phase all begins with the draft. I see
We're gonna take the North and never give it back.
And Caleb is looking for just about anybody. This is where he really is devastating. When he starts becoming a maestro. Look out! There he is!
This time he goes back shoulder up Doomsday Wolf. Gets out of there and then pounded to the ground. Going deep, and it is caught. Malik Neighbors touchdown.
Williams is bringing that light to Chicago.
Can't restrict him to tight end.
Love Darnell Wright. We called that before the draft last year.
Yeah, you guys did. I give you credit for that. I sure did.
First pick, Ridley, first pick, first pick, first pick, first pick, Ridley, first pick, first pick, first pick, Ridley, first pick, first pick, first pick, first pick, Ridley, first. With the first pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Chicago Bears select Caleb Williams. When you
Caleb Williams, we knew that forever. Did you know that forever like everybody else? Or was there a full process of trying to figure out who could potentially be the number one overall pick?
Yeah, we went through the full process. The film was a film that stood out, that kind of had my heart from the beginning. But as we spent more time with Caleb and did our homework and got to know each other, it became clear. No, nothing crazy. I don't think I ever allowed it to get crazy because, we were gathering information on Caleb. And I knew, again, from the tape, it was a rare prospect that had a lot of talent that could help us turn this thing around. So it was going to take a lot. So by the time we got to the point where we felt comfortable, I wasn't even going to take those calls anymore or even, listen to what it was going to be because I knew this was the right move for us. I kept it moving.
Draft Dr. Phil and the smartest man.
Keeping it 100.
Keep it 100.
So chase greatness and start understanding that he's going to make everybody better.
The tape never lies.
I don't want to see your tape breakdowns if you cannot show me things that are negative about a guy that's on your current team.
Hashtag chase greatness. Hashtag take that.
Keep it 100.
Because I'll make this one more time clear. Caden Whitlow, cut it. Keeping it one. He is the best quarterback I have ever scouted on tape.
The Chicago Bears select.
Guess who's back? The two dudes that kept it real. Dynamic duo that you love, the smartest man in Dr. Phil. Breaking down the film, never a problem, kick it straight. Most shows focus on stats, we focus on the tape. We keep it in 100, never running east or west. We coming with that truth, cause that's what our fans expect. Cut off the fake and anchor, moving forward to be free. But don't you worry, Shane's got the dumbest tweets. It ain't no secret, feeling Shane got some haters. But now they're moused up like the true and now and laters. Debaters, straws get kicked like Coach Tabor. Cuts had to be made, we added a barber moderator. Up and down, boys got you double checking. Sad sack strolling like a fool drunk texting. Flexing on the truth cause you know they'll never change. Real, recognize real, that's what you get with Phil and Shane.
Give me some fucking names. We have 2 fucking games.
Fuck a play or a captain, all of the unfair. The tape never lies, the truth you see. We laugh, we analyze, so there's no babies like Maybelline. Straight to the truth with acumen and facts. We got a stat nerd, but he's not just giving nerd stats. Car crash, big impact like trip stat. Every Wednesday night you got the smartest man Phil back. Now we know you're smiling like a fat kid with fun dip. We're back better than ever and we keeping it 100.
Keep it 100, baby. Keep it 100.
Draft Dr. Phil and the smartest man.
100. Keep it 100.
Keep it 100.
Yeah, exactly.
Yo, what is good, TTNL family? You know what it is. It's Wednesday night, so y'all in the right place. Of course, we got another fun show for y'all tonight. And yes, we fucking did it. We got the haul. And Caleb Williams is our QB, as well as my pick, Roma Dunze. Not to my own horn, because we don't do that here in this network. I love all. So without further ado, let's bring in the guys, because you know they got a lot to talk about. We're going to bring in Mr. Smartest Man, Shane Marsaw, and Mr. Draft, Dr. Phil.
Hey, it's us.
Yo. Look at Cherie coming out the gate, dropping the F-bomb. I love it.
Love it. Yeah, we found
like
out.
Ryan Poles.
We found out she's about 30% bad in the green room, and now she's out here dropping F-bombs.
Yes. Keeping it 100. That's what Ryan Poles was doing on the great Pat McAfee show. All the fraud boys, all the roaches. Oh, look at all those roaches surrounding me now. Did you hear? I know Mike V heard. I know Matt Byer heard. I know Sean Stewart. Where's my romper room mirror? Keys guy heard. Sean Stewart heard. Chris Harold heard. Then Rick. All TTNL heard Ryan Poles say the tape. I fell in. We watched the tape. He had me at the tape. Yeah. Another win for TTNL.
He done did it.
Yeah.
He done did it.
I don't mind taking victory lap because you know what? It's hard. It's hard to work and get it right. And that's what the Chicago Bears are finally doing. It's not easy. Like these guys. That was the Mel Kiper. That was the easiest draft. Shut the fuck up. You know how many things happen in the draft? Did you call Mike Penix going? Stop.
Yeah, I definitely don't. I don't know one person that had that.
Nobody had it. That's why, except that fucking psychic dude. I sent you that clip.
Yeah, I watched it.
The Mentalist. He got it. I'm like, how did this guy get it?
Yeah, that was
Still covering the draft. We're looking back. I don't know if you've seen that. I think it was with Pat McAfee where they had the Mentalist put all the draft picks in envelopes. Got all 13 in a row right.
The first
up to Brock
13.
Bowers. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was thick. You haven't seen that. Just a big Pat McAfee
You got a
fan.
hold of the NFL script, Phil. There's an easy answer for it.
It's not on the script. Sherry.
Huh?
It's not on the script.
I can't go that high with my voice right now.
You don't even have that drop.
Just starting to get it back. Yeah. But no,
Zorn
man,
was
what
like,
a
"Dude, I was so busy. I'm so sorry. I got caught up. I had family. I got to do this. I forget how I got him. I got him so good. I can't remember the line.
what a week it was, though. I mean, it's Riley said it to me. He's like, "There's so much buildup for the draft, and then you blink and it's over." I said, "Yeah, but now it's time
Like
to
a
get
wedding, right?
Yeah,
You plan the wedding and then
you don't remember any of it, and then it's over.
it's over. It was like, it was awesome. Trust me, it was awesome. But now it's over.
Yeah.
Now TTNL and their fans are champs again. Now we got to fight for a championship. Got to go for that ship. It all starts now. See Caleb out there already working. I had a dude tell me he's like crazy about studying the playbook. Again, on the same page with his wide receivers. He's had discussions with Hollywood Jalen Johnson. If anybody's Hollywood, it's Jalen Johnson.
Been working on the playbook for 6 weeks, by the way. But you know,
say that.
Well,
leaves.
They said it.
Oh, did they put it out there?
It's not illegal.
Oh, I didn't know.
That's not illegal at all. They knew. He didn't have the entire playbook, but he had the nuts and bolts of it, and he'd been working on it for 6 weeks.
It feels like we're in heaven, in God mode.
Yeah.
Well, that's why, I mean, like he was saying, like, there's no need to even try to offer anything for the first pick. Everybody knew where we were going. So
Not everybody, let's be honest.
Yeah, there was some more on. Can you imagine like all the fucking code breakers and all the pancake makers and all of those people that if they did trade down, I told you
they wouldn't be hyping up Caleb
Yeah.
like they are now. That's the difference. He ain't Johnny Manziel, George. That's a terrible take. It was awful. Just saying. All of the frauds came to the surface, peeked their heads up, and prayed for a different outcome. Where I'm praying for the Bears to win championships. So that's where my due diligence was. And clearly, for the second year in a row, me, Shane, Ryan Poles, and the Chicago Bears are all step for step on what they needed to do with the first pick. Now, the 9th pick is debatable. And the guest we have coming on tonight, we did an exercise on his show, and you could see exactly where it went was where I was. I don't flip-flop. So how I spoke on his show ended up happening. And I go by my big board. Simple as that. And getting Rome Odunze. And I'll just say this. In watching the interview, you look at a person and sometimes the person coincides with a clean tape. So we'll just take Neighbors and Odunze. Both of them have really great tape, right? I had Odunze number 1. Marvin Harrison, I didn't see the hype and all of this dominance. So he was number 3. It was the first time in a long time just looking at this that I had to really dissect because I put so much time into quarterback. I wanted to make sure it was right and give Jaden, Penix, JJ, and every quarterback the right look. Let's look at him. Caleb, you put on his tape, it's like modern pizza versus Little Caesars. That's it. So it's like, how is anybody going to beat that? I still remember Shane and I just with my dad laughing like, I've never seen anything like this. And that's where your Bears were. Now we go to receiver, right? Neighbors and Adunze for me are like neck and neck. He offers this style, like a Steve Smith aggressive. Adunze offers a Michael Irvin, a big time playmaker type of style, high point, run the route like Keenan Allen at the stem, that type. Now the personality of the player. That's where Rome Odunze wins. Because as Shane, as you put it, that backstory alone says a lot about him.
Yeah.
That you share, but just the person. You're getting a fucking great human being in your locker room that's not going to be worrying about his gold chains and swag and all of that. He's going to be worried about what his quarterback, who they've already connected, is worrying about, and that's championships. And that's what it should be. So I don't know what to say here, Shane. It's an amazing night and time.
Not much needs to be said, man. It worked. It worked out the way that Ryan Poles wanted it to work out too. That's the best part. He was willing to go up. Ian Cunningham, was preaching patience for them to sit. They did, and they got their guy. And he talked about it. He's like, yeah, it's great to think about getting more assets, more bites at the apple, but there's also parts that you draft elite players. And that's what we did. So we didn't really give any consideration to bouncing out of 9 when Rome was there. So that tells you exactly how they felt about him. And it is, I had Malik Neighbors number 2, but there was always the way that unfolded in New York on his first interview after his 30 visit. Those are things that teams don't like to see. It's called a precursor to what's next. What's going to happen when he has 4 catches for 32 yards and the Giants lose, 36-14? What's Neighbors' first words out of his mouth going to be in the locker room to a beat reporter? Those things matter.
Exactly.
And who knows how to play with other, I don't want to call them elite level, but Rome Odunze played with 3 very, very good wide receivers, and they all ate, and they had a big-time quarterback there. You didn't hear him talking about that. He's a kid that was brought up the right way and knew all about an honest day's work, and he knew how to bust his ass. He's been through the trials and tribulations, and he's not going to run to the media or run to social media and complain about it. Those things matter.
Look at this guy. He hated on all of us. Whole way talking about Caleb over Justin. After it's all said and done, I'm excited as fuck for next season and hopping on the train.
And his name is Caleb?
If your name is Caleb, that's just scary.
Caleb, man.
Caleb, man, you crazy.
Shane and Phil are telling us what they see on tape. Fuck that.
Fuck that. I know. Justin could do it. He just has never done it.
And he just needs everything else around him to improve.
Oh, year 4 is finna be lit.
Finna be lit. I'm going to Pittsburgh. Gonna find some podcasts over there.
3 years, and we just need to give him 1 more year.
So it won't end because it's there's so many of these guys that are trying to pretend that they weren't saying that shit. They questioned our football acumen, questioned our fandom.
The one that always
gets
our
loyalty.
The one that always kills me is, are we really going to be trashing this kid when he's still on our team? No, that's not what this is about at all. We're talking about what we see on tape and what we don't like. And if you can't stomach that, then you're shitty at what you do.
Exactly.
Think about that when you're listening or watching people break things down. And you can go back and listen to them say, oh, I'm not going to, I don't want to talk negative about Justin because he's still wearing the Bears jersey. Well, great. What would you have said about Cade McNown? What would you have said about Mitch Trubisky? Same thing? Jay Cutler. Same thing?
Double standards were set.
Sometimes going against consensus is the hardest thing to do. And it ends up working out in the long run. We never wavered. So I will pat everybody at TTNL on the back for that. We didn't waver. We didn't.
Yeah, those other networks, those micropods with their big talk showed no tape, showed slideshows, highlights, and talked about sources around the league that said, we don't do that here. This is my word, my work. Then I bring on Courtney Cronin, David Kaplan, Kenneth Davis, and we debate and we talk, and they talk about their sources, their people, because that's what they do. I will go toe-to-toe with anyone. I challenged anybody. Bring your Jaden Daniels. Bring your Justin Fields tape and show it. Show it. I'll stand in the pocket and show you mine. And no one could show up. No one could show up because they don't do it. If you're a patron, you know I stood there for 2.5 hours breaking down Caleb Williams because it was so obvious. It was so easy, Caleb, man. It was so right in front of your face that I couldn't let it go. It was the same way I felt about Charles Leno being terrible and Mustafa. I'll just show you the tape, then we could debate, because there's no narratives that are going to come from here. Just none. So yeah, we will take the lap every week. You get tired of it, go watch the other show. They'll tell you all about how they were wrong, right? They probably haven't admitted it once yet. Lawrence Chrisman, super chat, $5. Give me a quarterback that can throw with anticipation, and I'll show what a real offense looks like. Bear down. TTNL.
You heard DJ Moore talk about the workout with Caleb, and he's like, what's different? And they're like, well, he's throwing the ball where we're going to be. So, he's making those anticipatory throws. That's different. Now, I'm sure he doesn't want to go out and shit all over Justin, but it kind of tells you all you need to know right there that was not happening enough.
Right.
And oh yeah, by the way, Phil also told you that on tape.
Hi everybody. It's just me. It's just me. It's just me. Just telling you the truth. DDP, there are going to be a bunch of new players on the O-line. How long do you think it will listen? Takes a little while, but you better show up and show out right away if you want to get in the 5. That's what their goal should be this spring. I don't care if it's on air, if it's on pads. And I'm talking
out of the
walking
5
pad shields.
4 out of the 5 should be the.
Someone could always surprise, but Ryan Bates will be your center.
Yep.
Tevin's your left tackle. Braxton's going to be Tevin's your left guard. Braxton's your left tackle. That was a Toshin slip with Tevin at left tackle. The right guard will be Nate Davis, and right tackle obviously is all rookie Darnell Wright, who we talked about last year and picked that the Bears should pick him with 9 with their pick. And they did. What's it going to take? Are you going to listen to somebody who's saying, from sources telling me, guys in the league that I trust have told me you got to be careful about this kid? Who's the best quarterback in this draft? Who's got the best tape? Well, have you watched Jaden Daniels' Arizona State tape? Have you watched it? No, man, no, because what he did with first round wide receivers impressed you, right? And how one read looked to the sideline for plays that impressed you and ran one read run. Yeah, I lived that. No, not even close.
I've heard people saying Jaden Daniels should have been the number one pick because he won the Heisman. Like that was the logic.
So did Caleb.
So did Caleb Williams in 2022.
Yeah, the year before.
Guess what?
So so
did Tim Tebow, and so did Chris Wanke. For God's sake, you're gonna draft them one? That's not how this works.
Yeah, I don't get it.
So I was having a conversation with Ryan Cox and Cars today, and they were I'm trying to look it up. Somebody was talking about Caleb Williams, and so I went back to Lawrence Holmes' timeline. Just typed in the name Caleb Williams, and this came up when somebody was defending Caleb, and this is what Lawrence said. He said, "That's fine, but don't allow your wish casting to blind you. I implore you to go back and watch the Notre Dame game and Caleb losing interest in the Colorado game in the second half." So here's the fun. That's not even the funny part. Here's the funny part.
Lawrence, you're bad at breaking down.
So this was from December.
With baseball.
This was from December 27th, 2023. And he brought up the Utah game too. I missed that when I was reading it back. My bad. But talking about him losing interest in the Colorado game in the second half. Here's a little breaking news update. I'm going to give you Caleb Williams' stats from the Colorado game this past year. He threw 40 passes. He completed 30 of them for 403 yards, 6 touchdowns, and 1 interception. I implore you to go back and watch this kid lose interest in the second half of a game where he was 30 of 40 for 403 yards, 6 touchdowns, and 1 interception. Great.
Good call, Lawrence. Pretty proud of your football acumen. Clearly don't know how to watch tape, but wow.
I mean, what do you say to that? Other than, and now it's a full pivot. So excited to watch Caleb. That's fine. Listen. There's so many people out there. Somebody can get excited about, oh, you better pump the brakes. Listen. Justin could unlock this in year 4.
Nope.
He just needs 3 wide receiver ones. He needs Larry Allen and all these Hall of Famers on the offensive line. Just wait. It's because they don't want to shit on the kid. We got people that we have known and loved and had relationships with that don't even talk to us anymore because of that. Sadly,
nope.
Can't shit on the kid. Nobody's shitting on the kid.
Just telling the
telling
truth.
You what we see. Sports is a business, and if you don't perform, guess what happens? You get replaced. And guess what? If Justin Fields goes out there and gets onto the field and plays fantastic football and comes back to Soldier Field and throws for 8 touchdowns and 400 yards in Soldier Field, you think he's going to give 2 shits about the fans that rooted for him, or he's going to be talking his shit? As he should. It should be no fucking different. This has nothing to do with about disliking Justin Fields as a person or as a football player. It's about being better. It's about having a better opportunity. And that's exactly what the Bears have. You take that personal, you have some issues yourself that you should probably focus on. I don't know what else to say beyond that. No, Justin's a great kid. Hard worker, and that's fine. Time ran out here.
The Bears,
it is what it is.
Decided to
didn't play good enough.
Greatness. They tried to chase the best quarterback I've ever scouted. I put my name to that. I did. I said it back in November. I said it back in 2023 January.
You said it last year.
Last year.
Leading up to the draft.
Leading up to that draft. If he was in it, you're fucking trading Justin Fields last year. Not for DJ Moore. You're not giving away that first. You're trading Justin Fields for whatever you can get, and you're taking Caleb last year. This GM made the trade, maybe the greatest trade that'll ever be in Chicago Bears history. It's the truth. Look what he has done with that trade. And as luck had it for the first time.
Not done yet. And it's not done yet.
You still have you have picks next year from it. Maybe the freaking moon and the solar eclipse and all of this stuff happening this year and the cicadas that are in Greg's backyard, all of them combined put the Bears in the perfect scenario. And Giant fans want to call it luck. Patriot fans want to call it luck. I remember the Giants holding on to a fucking ball on the back of his helmet. The Bears I'll take
David Tyree.
All the luck we can get to get the fuck out of losing. Don't surround yourself with losers. You become one. Surround yourself with good people. You might not agree all the time. But when they're right, you fucking own it. You know what? You were right, man. You were right. That's the right way to handle friendship, marriage, fatherhood, motherhood. Own the shit. Don't turn the page like some grifter. As if you didn't fucking say what you said.
I'm not smart.
Speaking of not smart, guy, it's not smart to smoke, children. That's what I say.
Oh my God, Greg, droning on and on. Shut the fuck up, dude.
Tonight we got a special guest. I think you know where we're going with this. I don't know maybe we had to do his intro over because there was all this copyright in it.
It was before he got famous.
Yes, we have to write a new script for him.
Yeah.
You know that Monday night when he broke all of the CHGO rules that
Angelo, do you remember Greg Braggs?
No.
All the rules that Karn put in and said, you gotta be done in an hour. And then Phil and Jane go on his show, and it's 2 hours and 30 minutes of the best draft talk, preparing you for what happened in the first round. Let's bring this guy out, my boy. You know him, you see him. He's on CHGO Chicago. I love the guy most times.
We're having on Adam Hogue?
No.
Oh, damn it.
Let's bring him out. Gregory Braggs Jr. See, I told you, folks, you don't want to take part in smoking. It's bad for your health.
It's a victory cigar.
Oh, there it is.
Gotta have our victory cigar here. We're still celebrating last week.
I'm still celebrating too.
The biggest Malik Neighbors fan I know right there, Greg Braggs.
Oh, yeah. You know me. You know me. I mean, we all saw the meltdown I had when the Bears drafted Roma Dunze. I mean, I blacked out. And credit to me for not knocking down the entire set when that occurred.
Did you feel dizzy at that moment for real? Did you get like a dizzy spell?
Yes, like after I
did too.
Out, I had to slow. If you watch the video, I had to slow down for a minute because I literally was getting nauseous because I haven't screamed that hard for the Bears in years. I mean, probably since 2018, maybe was the last time, but that felt good. That was a good.
We're screaming in unison.
Yes, I saw the video. Yeah, for sure.
I have never heard it. Was so loud it blew out my mic. And he's like, earlier today, he's like, Dad, I did get a little dizzy. I know. I remember my first game back in coaching last year, and we
Tell them
scored.
wait for those playoff screams. Those
Yeah,
hit
I got so dizzy with that scream. I was like, "Holy shit!" I got
Yeah.
dizzy.
In the chat, Sam Patterson asking, "Did Braggs paint his nails?" Yes, I did.
Look, he's got his nails painted.
Nails painted, cigar lit, lips pink. Your girl love him. Come on now, Caleb Williams. Welcome to Chicago.
Did you order the 15 jersey?
The Roma Dunze 15?
Yeah.
I mean, of all the great things that have happened in the last week, we have completely fumbled the numbers. Shane, I know you're a big numbers guy too.
Yep.
And I'm going to just have to get over it at some point because I understand Caleb was number 18 in high school. So this is his choice. I get it. But if I'm calling the shots, Caleb's 12. I don't even like Roman with 15. Yeah, we got.
I like 18 better than 12.
Yeah,
I do.
He's a big Aaron Rodgers guy, so it would have been cool for him to do 12.
Yeah, we want him to win more than that.
Well, I'm just saying, flip the script on Green Bay and let the new 12 come to town, the new sheriff come to town. But 18 it is. I mean, even the punter's number 19. Like, what are we doing here? What is going on? It's just they're all. Don't take Tanner Gentry's number. My guy.
Where is he now, by the way?
He retired. He was on the Bills practice squad for a few years, and now he's I think he trains, kids coming up.
Him and Daniel Braverman opened up a car dealership, right? Him and Daniel Braverman?
I don't think so. No,
that was probably before Greg's time.
No, it wasn't. We're not going to take a shot at side swipe at Tanner Gentry. That's my guy.
Or my guy, Daniel Braverman.
Yeah. Yeah. So, no, it's a beautiful thing. I was tuned in a little bit here before I jumped on. And, shout out to Caleb Mann, who said, hey, I was wrong. I was hard on you guys, and I was wrong. See how easy that is? That's all you got to do. You don't have to spin yourself in circle. Well, if you go back, I never actually said I didn't, blah, blah, blah. Now, get out of here. You were hating. Don't act like you weren't. Just own up to the hate. Nobody's ever going to blame a fan for being passionate. I'm not even going to blame a media member for being passionate. But at the end of the day, just own it and move on. We all get them wrong sometimes. So
are we going to get dinged by the CHGO superpower if we play this?
Yeah. I do a lot of stuff on the CHGO Sports YouTube, so I'm gonna hit you guys with a copyright here after we play. Go ahead and play
Who's the guy on stage with you there?
That's my boss, general manager Jake Flanagan. Huge Bears fan.
I like Jake. Jake coming on stage to celebrate.
Yeah.
Look at Greg. You can be my get back coach.
Oh yeah. Look at
Yeah, I told you this guy can lift people up. Got strong hands, Greg. Now, who's this guy?
I got to give him credit. He even walks up and says something to his wife. He had poor Jenny working overtime.
Working the camera.
Is this Jenny's film right here?
No.
This is, and the guy I picked up on stage, his name's Justin. He's a good buddy of mine.
He walks up to his wife here in about 10 seconds and says something into, was it her phone or your phone?
It's her phone. That's why the camera quality sucks. She hasn't gotten a new phone in like 7 years.
This is her phone right here.
It's a rare moment where I don't have my phone in my hand. So that's how you knew I was nervous when this click went down.
This was for Rome, right? This isn't for
Rome.
How did you actually? Oh, I missed it. Greg's got the same wallet.
That wallet was?
That's my cell phone.
Oh, it looked like my wallet.
Oh, it's that big ass Android. Watch this.
Do you smack him?
No, I thought about it though.
Wait, they didn't take Johnny Newton?
Elbow Wooten in the head. Johnny Newton?
They didn't take Newton? You're gonna have to stay here till tomorrow, Corey. See him taken.
Yeah, no, that was the Roma Dunze pick because, I mean, the Caleb excitement, obviously, it was just a different type of excitement, right? We were at Joe's on Weed Street for Logan Frost is asking in the chat. We've been there 2 years in a row. It's been a lot of fun. And the Caleb Williams, announcement was cool and exciting. We all went nuts, but it was a celebration of something, 99.9% of us knew already was happening.
Aside like from those UConn in the national title game, it was inevitable. You knew how it was going to end.
Calm down. Can we just enjoy ourselves for a minute? God damn it! And so, but the Roma Dunze pick from the Malik Neighbors pick on just built up to this, insanity that I displayed there because J.C. Latham comes off the board, and that's really where I started to have a meltdown. And if you go back and watch our stream, you can just see I was sick. As soon as once Tennessee was on the clock, I am sick to my stomach. Just
I'm glad you did. I want to say this. Sorry, I'm glad you celebrated because you're a fan. And who is the guy that came out? The big guy first, Jake.
Yeah, it's Jake Flanagan.
Jake Flanagan.
Yep.
The fact that he's the general manager, let me shout him out for showing the Bears have been perennial losers. I'm dead ass serious. There's a point in McAfee's show where he goes back to the other interview that he had with Ryan Poles when he's referencing RG3. Yeah. And he's like, you are sitting there saying, I got hired to change this fucking bullshit that was there.
Right.
Right? Shane, Phil, and Greg have lived the bullshit that was there.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Sure,
so we've been analyzing it, and I'm sorry, we've been right 80-90% of the time about the shit and the bullshit and the things they should do, they didn't do, blah, 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 right? So for Greg to have that moment of emotion and passion because he's been in the losing, just like you guys are. And Jake, shout out to you too, Jake, for doing that because don't be high on your moral ground when you've been stomped in it for so long. Get up. It's fucking third down. Get up out of your seat and cheer for your fucking football team. This was the biggest moment in the Chicago Bears history up until now. To have
and if you want to know
and Roma Dunze, unreal.
Rob in the chat, anybody that follows our show knows we joke about Jake because if you go in his office, it's not a typical general manager's office. I wouldn't know because it's the first office I've ever been in. We didn't have offices with bricklayers, but yeah, the porta john, yeah. So, but when you go into his office, he has all this memorabilia on the wall. Like all these different old school pictures, and all of last year he had a giant Justin Fields fat head. And so we taunt him about this and torment him because we knew the end was near, and he was as big a Justin Fields disciple as any these guys on Bears Twitter or anywhere else. And there were plenty of them, right? I mean, you heard the "We Want Fields" chants to end the season at Soldier Field, and those were real emotions from fans who adored Justin, and Jake was one of them. And it took him a long time, Jake, to come around to the vision, but the night of it was a coming together moment. I don't care who you were, the 12 people that are left still crying about the decision that Ryan Poles made. They're over here. We're all step for step. Even DJ Moore, who obviously was putting stuff out there about what Justin can do. Now he's sitting here saying what Caleb does better, and that was his words. Right. Like you said, Shane, the anticipatory throws are going to be better was the exact words he used. And so, you can take that as a shot at Justin, but at the end of the day, it's just a reality. Right. Justin was a see it and throw it guy. Now, does that mean that you can't win with Justin Fields? No, you can win games, but what Caleb, there are a lot of things from the quarterback position that Caleb does better. And that was a reality to most of the fans or people covering it like us here. and it was a reality ultimately to Ryan Poles. And so, at the end of the day, you're either trust in Poles or not. You're either ride or die with what this vision is, or you're not. And if you're not, that's okay. Like you said, Phil, Shane, sometimes being on the other side of things and being against the grain isn't easy, isn't popular. If that's how you feel, stand on it. But, we have seen a lot of wishy-washy, and I was the one
call him out
as the season was ending. I got
Gabriel.
I got titled the flopper, right? As the season ended.
Caleb's the best since Andrew Luck today, someone said. That's what Greg came out and said after he buried them all. You wouldn't take them, fuck this organization, all that stuff.
Who, me?
Not you.
You said Greg.
Greg Gabriel.
Oh, Greg Gabriel.
He's made those
projects. He's gone back and forth because, like, he wrote an article in October of last year that said he was one of the best quarterback prospects he had seen. And then as the offseason started to unfold, he went the other way, and now he's back to the Luck comparisons. All right,
Lawrence Holmes, his commentary. Pat the designer. Or the entertainer. What is it? Pat the designer. His commentary. Flip-flopping. All these people have to take ownership of where they were and admit, listen, I was wrong about this. Now stay in that lane. You're not watching tape. You're not doing it fairly. I'm sorry. This is just the truth. What Shane said is the truth. If you can't criticize the guy that's under center on your football team, then you can't analyze. That's just it.
Well, and then the other half of it too that I find funny is I hear a lot of people, and it's fine. I'm ready to eyes forward. I'm excited for the season start. I could literally skip summer. There's nobody loves summer more than me. Everybody loves summer, but I love
everyone wants
the summer. And I could, if you asked me, I would hit the fast forward button and skip this entire summer. Give me to training camp right now. But for the crowd that's like what we're talking about right now, let it go. All right. I got no problem letting it go, but don't pretend yourself for 1 second that if it had gone the other way and Ryan Poles had chose to keep Justin and trade the number 1 pick, that the let it go crowd right now would be letting anything go. There would be 100 of them in the chat right now.
You guys were wrong. They got their get out of jail free card by being a Bears fan because it's easy to pivot to that. And if Caleb blows up, we're all happy no matter what and whatever. So that's their get out of jail. That's why it was a
good bet. It was a good bet because you're pushing your chips in on the long money. If it hits, you get to be the smartest person in the room. Shame anyone that ever doubted you. And if it doesn't hit, like you said, you can go back to hey, whoever the quarterback is, I'm going to support. Okay, well, did you do that for Mike Glennon? Because I know I didn't. You guys remember that was when I first started with you guys, and I was in the tunnel screaming at Dowell Loggins and George McCaskey to sit that motherfucker. So, no, it isn't always who the quarterback is I support, because I know no Bears fan supported the signing of Mike Glennon or 1 second of one start he was under center as the Chicago Bears.
I still remember making that call to Phil, and I'm like, bro, they're saying this was like 2 weeks before free agency even opened. I'm like, bro, they're hot rumors are going after fucking Mike Glennon.
Unbelievable.
I had a coronary. I'm like, no. Yes. No.
Every year, the start of free agency, that would always be the closest I'd ever get fired when I was laying brick, because I wouldn't be laying brick. I'd just be looking at my phone waiting for the updates. When the Mike Glennon news dropped, I still have the picture of, I took a selfie on Snapchat. That was when Snapchat was big. And I let out this big motherfucker. Like, what the fuck are we doing? Somebody thought I had like a stroke or a brick fell on my foot. I was like, no, the Bears just signed Mike Glennon. So we've come a long way, gentlemen. We've come a long day. Like you said, we've all been through it. And now here we are. And we get to bask in this glory. And off season's always a season for dreaming for us. And we always try to see the best pathway for our team, even last year, any year, really. But now it seems like there's a lot more credence to our hopes and dreams going into 2024.
Totally agree, man.
I see 22A all day saying that moron Adam Mason had the audacity to call Caleb Williams the JV version of Justin. Adam Mason comes across my mentions yesterday, gassing up Corey Wooten, and he calls me and everyone else on CHGO Bears, hey, tell those pansies to push all their chips in on Caleb Williams. Listen, we, Adam, have been pushing our chips in on Caleb Williams for months. Welcome to the club, Adam. While you're out, fluffing up, Corey Wooten, I'll see if I can get you an interview. And welcome to the Caleb Williams club. We're all here. Glad you joined.
Thank God Adam Mason knows how to watch tape. Maybe he should just watch it backwards.
Well, he's a big Jaden Daniels guy too, if I remember.
Oh yeah, of course, man.
There you go.
Him and Dan Orlovsky, Justin Field, Adam Mason would run this team into the fucking shed.
Travis Kelce also. I just listened to his.
Travis Kelce.
Yeah.
What are you fucking? He ain't watching tape. He's watching Taylor Swift. That's it. Just want to give a shout out to TTNL, the best Chicago Bears show on the planet. Because Phil and Shane always keep it 100. Been in on Caleb Williams since day one. The kid is special. Bear down. 100%. Listen.
I mean, what? 2 wide receivers taken, 1 offensive lineman taken in the 6th round. I mean, somebody countered and said, well, only 1 defensive player from the Pac-12 taken in the top 50. Gonzo. Good. That fucking guy. He never shut the fuck up. I got clips from October too there, buddy. Just stick to your White Sox. Did they win today?
I'm going back. I'm going to watch this thing. I'm really diving into it now after the drafts. And I really got to say, someone sent me this clip. I go, this isn't real. This isn't real. They're like, yeah, it is.
When the playoffs hit and the Bears were out of the playoffs and you started to even hear it back then, it was like driving me crazy. Like, Caleb Williams isn't a secret. He was doing this a year ago. He won the Heisman, and people were like, I've started to turn on the Caleb Williams tape and this kid is special. And this was in like January. I'm like, yeah, like, I don't know what you guys were doing from October till December when it was clear the Bears were going to have the number 1 pick. But what I was doing was watching Caleb Williams and Drake May mostly, and watching Justin Fields and trying to decide what was best for the Bears moving forward.
I tried many, many months ago to tell Greg about Drake May. I still remember that. It was right around the time.
Yeah, you've never been high on Drake. I'm still going to hold the line for Drake. If it was me ranking them, I'd probably go Caleb, Drake. I'm not smart. Jaden, JJ. I'm not a big JJ guy. And he's probably going to make me eat my words, especially now that he's in the division. Yeah, I've watched, and people are like, oh, what have you? I've watched plenty. The only guy I probably watched the least is Jaden Daniels, but I watched plenty of JJ McCarthy. Obviously being in the Midwest and then winning a national championship. And I watched a ton of Drake May and Caleb Williams. So, I honestly, all 4 of them landed in pretty good spots in terms of fit.
I'm not a May fan or a Jaden fan, but if I had to pick one of them, I would take Drake May over Jaden Daniels all day long.
So would I.
Yeah.
We had them. So we ranked them. Obviously, Caleb Williams.
We were step for step.
Then I did, just for Bears fans, I took the Bears stadium plans and I showed 7 softball fields. So it was Caleb Williams, 7 softball fields. And then it's JJ McCarthy, Michael Penix, Drake May, and then Jaden Daniels was last. Jaden Daniels and the Maserati Marv are probably 2 of the most hyped players in this draft, and I'm going to be interested to see how they do in the NFL with their kind of personality alone. Rubs me in a wrong way, and we'll see how they go. we'll see how they go. Their tape told me,
You surprised me with the Marvin Harrison Jr. stuff. I can't go down that road with you there. I think Marvin Harrison Jr. is special.
We'll see.
And obviously, I'll always defer to you in tape breakdown. But I just think, and that Marvin Harrison is another guy we all have watched a lot here the last 3 years, especially when it seemed like that's the route we'd go before it was obvious Justin was no longer going to be our guy, and the Bears were going to end up with the number 1 pick. But I think, to me, maybe what you're missing, not trying to speak for you, but to me, what I think maybe you're missing is how easy he makes it look. Like Rome makes these spectacular catches, and Marvin, he's 10 yards in front of the guy. I just, to me, sometimes, or he's behind his defender. To me, I think it's just how smooth and how easy Marvin Harrison makes everything look.
I just think with Marvin this year, a lot of it just came down to the frustration at quarterback. I mean, all day long. With Kyle McCord, there was
true. Yeah.
That was bad because I did put that into my grade, but listen, I watch Neighbors. The guy aggressively attacks the football and understands how to run after the catch, be a certain way. Marvin Harrison Jr. goes down quick, makes a lot of business decisions, running out of bounds, never dip pads. I found one play where he dipped his pad. That was it on all of his tape. Someone show me any different. That ain't going to work in the league, bro. You're going to have to be tough because you're going to get fucking lit the fuck up. And this dude, Roma Dunze, number 1 receiver in my book. In fact, we go back to that night, Greg. You hit it firsthand what the Bears did. You gave me and Shane the assignment. Like I said, it was 2.5 hour show.
It's a lot of homework.
And I had Caleb, Bowers, and a Dunze in my top 3. You had Caleb and a Dunze, your top 2. I don't remember your third.
We just did the top 10.
9.
We did the top 10 options for the number 9 pick.
9.
Caleb wasn't even involved in the discussion.
Oh, that's right. We all knew it was Caleb. So it was the top.
Yeah, like I didn't even include Marvin Harrison in my 9 or for my number 9 because I just knew that he wasn't going to be there.
He's going to be fun.
Roma Dunze is like if Keenan Allen and Mike Evans had a baby. Like that's what I see.
I see Keenan Allen. Who did I say earlier, Shane? I just lost it. Fuck.
Well, who was it that we talked to that had him as Devontae Adams?
Well, I see Devontae Adams in him.
Was it Waldman?
Waldman might have said
DeAndre Hopkins, did you say? Drew Black?
No, I didn't say Hopkins. I definitely see some Devontae. Oh, Michael Irvin. Thank you. Ryan Cox and Elmer.
Without the cocaine habit?
Yeah. I mean, this kid is exactly the kind of young wide receiver, just a classy kid that's going to come in here with another. I mean, my wife is a big reader of energy, and she was like, just Caleb Williams' energy is just so enlightening. It's like he's so magnetic, like everyone around him. He's got that personality. It's not an act. I'm sorry, EJ. It never was, and it's who he is. And I think you just best be getting on board. But anyway, Michael Irvin and Keenan Allen, big time playmaker who can run the fucking routes and make the catch. You're right, Keys guy. He's faster than Mike was, and that big, and that just, I mean, come on. The Bears, you got that's anybody ranking the Bears, because I don't usually give out draft grades, but this year I was like, oh my God. You get the franchise quarterback, the best that I've ever scouted, and people will say the best in the last 30 years. People I respect. I'll just call their names out. I don't have to. I was talking to Joel Claddy. I respect the fuck out of DJ Daniel Jeremiah. I respect that guy.
Daniel Jeremiah had Roma Dunze as his favorite player in the draft.
Yep.
Wow, I didn't know that. That's freaking awesome.
The Bears got him at 9.
Bears got him at 9. And that's why Shane and I love the draft, since my mom allowed me to play hooky from school in the 3rd grade when it was on Mondays. Like, it started on a Sunday and there was like 12 rounds, and I just was watching as a kid. I want to see what the Bears get.
5 quarterbacks in the top 10 and 3 wide receivers. I mean, that's as unique. I mean, you're always going to have quarterback top end, top heavy drafts. I mean, but 5, that's a lot.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, what was Justin 4th? And that was at 11.
At 11.
This is 5 in the top 10, and then 3 wide receivers.
6 in the top 12. That's
6 in
never
the top
been done.
12 with Bo Nix. Yeah. I mean, that's ultimate. That's really, I mean, now we're really tipping the scales about quarterback desperate, quarterback needy teams in this league, and you're just seeing it now. And it also coincided with the amount of quarterbacks that were available, because the Kenny Pickett year, the first quarterback, Kenny Pickett, was what, 18? So it doesn't always happen like that. And then 3 wide receivers to go in the top 10 also does. I mean, you might have 1, but 3 to push Rome all the way to 9. I mean, the stars just aligned, and we've talked about it so many times. Shane, you've said it perfectly. How many times have we been on the wrong end of being on the short side of Aaron Donald? One pick away from Aaron Donald, 1 pick away from Quentin Nelson.
They were 1 pick away from Terry Bradshaw back in the day.
A coin flip away from Terry Bradshaw. And then through our own faults through our own fault at times, taking Shea McClellan over Chandler Jones. So it goes both ways. Sometimes the player doesn't fall to us, and then when the player does, we take the wrong player. And this year it feels.
I wanted Evan Ingram, not Evan Ingram. What was his name?
Oh, I can remember being ecstatic when David Terrell.
The linebacker Ingram or the running back, Bill?
The running back. What was his name?
Mark Ingram?
No, you're not running back. The defensive end.
Yeah, I went to the Chargers. Melvin
Ingram. Thank you. That was who I really wanted in that draft.
Yep.
And we got.
But I can remember in 2001 when David Terrell fell to Chicago. Yeah, that was the David Terrell, Corin Robinson draft as wide receivers, and I'm like, holy shit! I cannot believe David. I was so excited about that guy.
We finally got a tall receiver. I said
he wasn't bad as a rookie, and then it just all went to hell after that. But yeah, sometimes you just don't know.
You never know. The Bears have not been able to have this kind of luck, Greg. And part of it is luck. Who is hiding from that? But to say that was easy totally alleviates the work that Ryan Poles did to get there. He bet on the trade. He bet on the market, and he bet on Caleb Williams. And he was right.
Well, and this is where we part ways, Phil, from the victory cigar of dancing on the graves of all those that wanted to keep Justin over drafting Caleb. But the other end of this spectrum, where I'm holding receipts on, are the people the last 2 years that have given me any shit about saying the Bears need to lose games to end the year, because this does not happen. 2 years ago, you rewind back.
Yep.
In the tank month, when I was the tank commander and rooting, God forbid, rooting for the Bears to lose to the Packers in December, when Justin shouldn't even have been playing. He had a shoulder injury, and everybody in my studio is hooting and hollering over a nice 60, 70-yard touchdown. And they're trying to win the battle. I'm trying to win the war. And I'm getting yelled at because I'm not getting excited, because I don't want to beat and win a meaningless game against Green Bay, because I want to beat them for the next 10 years. And it wasn't just people in my studio. I had people all over social media giving me shit, saying, oh, you're not a real Bears fan if you're rooting for them to lose. They needed to lose every one of those games, ladies and gentlemen. And in fact, this upcoming season, I wasn't necessarily rooting against them in December, but once they lost to the Browns and they were officially eliminated from the playoffs, losing those games at the end of the year did not hurt them. And losing to the Packers the last week of the season is the difference between Rome Odunze and whoever the hell else they would have ended up picking. And we don't know. Maybe it would have been an offensive tackle with what they took in the third round. We don't know at the end of the day. But to me,
Well, there's
like
also the layer of Lovey Smith too.
And Lovey's divine intervention. But you got to put yourself in that position.
Yeah.
Because if the Bears had won a couple games, they're not even in that spot for that luck to fall their way. So when you say luck played a factor, it did. But you know what? What's one of the sayings I like to say? Chance favors the prepared mind is a saying. So you've got to put yourself in position to have the chance happen for you, to have the luck happen for you. So Ryan Poles gutting the roster, understanding the vision, staying patient with it and seeing it through and not letting anybody knock him off his spot. And he held through it. And he knew he was going to take some criticism early on, and now he's going to end up being GM of the year by the end of this year.
Yeah, and you know my thoughts on it. I still remember we were getting ready for BHL when the whole Houston Indy game went down, and Ivan and I were losing our fucking minds. And listen, I don't want the Bears to lose, when it comes down to it, but I understood Bragg's point. I mean, I wanted the number one pick. I wanted to have the best option. To me, there's no difference between 4 wins or 5 wins.
People were saying, oh, well, the Bears always screw up their first round picks. What does that have to do with anything?
It doesn't.
That's like saying USC quarterbacks aren't successful. You just don't do that.
He started at Oklahoma, so there's there's a counter to all of
there's so many things that go. I'm sure somebody will. We don't have that.
But there's so many things that had to go.
Like Mitch Trubisky losing in Pittsburgh to the Patriots. Remember that?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He started that game, lost to the fucking Patriots, who were like.
But it's such a finite, thing that anything could have knocked this off its axis and made it not happen. And that's when I say it's un-Chicago Bear, like that's what I'm talking about.
It's a 2-year miracle.
Right. It's
a 2-year miracle where 300 different things had to fall our way for this to happen. This doesn't not only not happen to Bears fans ever, this doesn't happen to anyone ever. And this is the most divine intervention we're ever going to have outside of the Bears, the Portland Trailblazers passing on Sam Bowie and Michael Jordan falling into Chicago's lap and ending up with what ended up being the greatest player in sports history in our city for 15 years. And maybe this is what's come here for the Bears is for the next 15 years, we're going to have a party every single day of our lives. Because the Jordan years, nothing else existed in Chicago during the Jordan years from 1985 to 2000. The Cubs, the White Sox, the Blackhawks, they might as well.
What about when Michael Cooper?
Cooper, the rest of them. They all might as well have taken a 15-year vacation because they didn't matter.
I want to say this. I said the Chicago Bears won the fucking Powerball.
Yeah.
They sprint up to the podium and they take the best quarterback I've ever scouted. Ryan Poles today on McAfee told you exactly the same thing. He said, listen, I fell in love with this kid based on his tape. Then I got to know the kid. We weren't moving for a fucking nothing, bro. Just like we said here. Shane, over and over.
The thing about it is, where it's special, he said the same thing about Roma Dunze.
Exactly.
He said the same thing. He's like, no,
they identified guys that love the game of football. That's the biggest difference between Angelo, Emery, and Ryan Pace. They didn't identify guys that love the game of football. Ryan Poles has. I said this fucking years ago when Ryan Pace was here. I'm like, this guy just doesn't understand how to identify football players. You gotta go always with those guys. They make the difference. And it's even getting to the point where Shane, we talked about this. There's something good about getting a guy that grew up, understood what it is to be a Bears fan and the losing, and maybe you get that extra 10% out of that football player.
2A all day in the chat saying, okay, well, isn't Rome worth moving up for then had he not fallen? And Ryan Poles said that Ian Cunningham had to convince him not to move up. So Ryan had an itchy trigger finger sitting there.
That was like me and Shane saying, Phil, calm down.
This is where Phil and I
would get.
Phil is the coach.
I gotta get
Shane's
that
the
guy.
GM, and he's like, listen, I need this kid.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck if you have to trade 7 first-round picks. Go get this motherfucker. And be like,
right.
Phil, he's the next pick.
Well, and that's who Ryan Pace was. That's who Ryan Pace was.
Right.
Ryan Pace didn't have a poker face. If he knew he needed something and that's what he wanted, he went and got it. And there's a part of you that can admire the tenacity of, I'm going to go get my guy by any means necessary. But you have to know that balance of what is a risk and what's a calculated risk. And Ryan Pace got too itchy with the trigger finger. And Ryan Poles has traded up a few times. He traded up last year for Tyreek Stevenson. He traded for Chase Claypool. He's made risky moves. He's pushed his chips in. He's done those things. So it's not like he's not capable of it. But to me, Ryan Poles has had way more calculated risks and has been much more patient and letting things come to him. Now, you're in a rebuild, so you can afford that, where Ryan Pace was in win now mode. So let's see how Ryan Poles stays patient next year, the years forward, where the Bears are in win now mode in this Caleb Williams era while this window is open. And maybe if Ian Cunningham's gone next year and he doesn't have that guy sitting next to him telling him, all right, relax, because, Ryan obviously, gets like that at times. And you need that guy on your shoulder to be like, hey, man, chill, we're in a good spot here.
Did you guys see the reaction to Ryan Poles when I think it was Jason Leisure asked him about the pick at number 8? Did you see that?
Oh, yeah, and he laughed.
Yeah, trying not to outwardly just go all in and be like, holy shit. Yeah, that was the moment right there.
Imagine me. I'd be like, oh my God, thank God. We got him. We got him. I could see it.
But then you look back to it and it's the Mike Glennon blueprint with Mitch Trubisky. Repeated itself in Atlanta. And I know a lot of people say it's Pace. Pace isn't the GM there, but he's got a lot to do with what's going on. But it's the exact blueprint, down to the draft party and not letting the starting quarterback know and calling him at the draft party.
It's crazy. Living history.
It's stupid at the end of the day, because if you're sitting there going, well, Kirk Cousins not going to be available right away, recovering from his Achilles, so Penix will get a lot of snaps. Then why did you even sign Kirk Cousins to begin with?
Right.
And so then the other statement they said was, well, if in 5 years Kirk Cousins is our quarterback, then that's a good problem to have. No, because you just burned a pick that could have helped you win now with Kirk Cousins.
And how often do they say one of the biggest benefits with going with a rookie quarterback is resetting that financial clock? You burn through all of that.
Yeah, it's
a
fraudulent lie.
All that's left for them is if Michael Penix shows out early, like let's say Kirk Cousins can't play in the preseason or something, they're letting Michael Penix go out and play, and he shows out, and then they can use Kirk Cousins as trade bait.
And who's trading for that contract? Nobody.
Well, I mean, everybody at some point needs a quarterback. If you're in a win now and your guy goes down,
let me look up the numbers because they got to be.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
let me answer Ben. First, Ben. Obviously, the tape is going to tell me if somebody loves the game of football. And if you've never played or coached, it'll be hard for you to understand, not you personally, I'm talking to anybody, what I could see on tape telling me whether or not that player loves the game of football. Does he get his nose dirty? Does he step out of bounds? Is there business decisions? These things I'm tracking when I'm watching tape. Those types of little things show me, okay, I don't know if this guy loves the game of football as much as this guy who continues to drop his pads, get involved. And it starts there. Then, of course, you're going to sit down with these football players. You're going to talk to the people around them, the coaches. The coach is going to tell you in and day out, how do they practice? How do they lead? How do they, in the biggest of moments in a game, how do they react? Are they hiding? Are they trying to make the big play? Do they want the ball? These are just a small segment of things. Just watching the tape, talking to a guy is going to get me a whole other thing. And that's how a lot of these guys that pretend to watch tape or they're just new to watching tape and just strictly don't know what they're talking about infuriates me half the time.
You tell Shane, you talk about that Colorado game.
Yeah.
Which, if you didn't tune in, I mean, Colorado Buffalo football is like the epicenter of college football. Right,
they were undefeated at that time.
Right, Colorado was hyped for that game.
Hyped. The Rock was there.
Right. It was oh man, every celebrity on the planet was there, and so you watch that game. One of his 6 touchdowns.
Yeah.
This is where Caleb Williams is special. But if you want to try to be one of those haters and nip, he doesn't take the completion that he's supposed to take, and that's not going to work in the NFL. Well, tell that to Patrick Mahomes, okay? Because on one play, one of his touchdowns, there's a crossing route, an in route, and he passes it up, and he takes it 20 yards downfield to the left side. That guy runs it in for a 60, 50-yard touchdown. So when you talk about, trying to dissect what he can and can't do in the NFL, we had his high school coach on here today. Mm-hmm. And what he said was, to the Bears, his message to the Bears would be, don't put this kid in a box, and so it's going to be interesting to see how Shane Waldron, who to me is now the biggest question mark going into the season, and how he's going to mold a rookie quarterback of this nature and how he's going to develop him. Because you want to be careful about how you do it. But at the same time, if this dude's the dude, then you kind of just got to let him go. And Kansas City, I asked Andy Reid this at the combine. And when he talked about his development of Patrick Mahomes, like they understood there were things he needed to work on, but they wanted to accentuate what he was great at. And so if Caleb Williams is an outside the box thinker and an outside the box playmaker, then don't bottle that up, because you might lose. You might coach it out of him, right?
100% agree, Greg.
This is a very tricky, and a delicate thing. At the end of the day, the dude's a gamer. He's going to figure it out. But I think those are some things that you got to keep an eye on how they develop him and how quickly they let him give him the keys to the Ferrari, so to speak.
Chubbs 82, our guy, $10. Thank you, Chubbs. You can tell Poles is putting into practice what he learned in Kansas City. He understands why Kansas City can replace players and still win. The QB who makes people better, Justin, just didn't make the team as a whole lot better. And I totally agree. That's why I was saying it and getting a lot of heat for it, because it was showing up on tape week in and week out. And sometimes a player like Cole Kmet will fucking get wind of it, hear the criticism, and improve. Some players can't improve. They are where they are. Like Denny Green. They are who we thought they were. That's it.
And the game might eventually slow down for Justin. I mean, I'm not gonna rule that out.
Modern pizza.
Well, I'm not gonna rule that out for Justin. The game could eventually slow down for him. He's supremely talented. He's got a great arm. His biggest issue is he has to wait for the receiver to be open before he'll let it go. He has to wait for the receiver to turn around and their eyes connect and now I feel comfortable enough to let it out of my hand.
When do we play the Steelers again? Next year? That'll be interesting.
I mean, Fields just like Mitch, who had a 1 year in Buffalo and then moved on to a different team where he got a starting opportunity. That might be Justin's story where he's 1 year in the Steelers.
They've already decided he doesn't. They're not going to pick up the 5th year.
They let him.
Option. Yeah.
So
it's
I mean,
2025 bullets.
Well, Russell could go down, and then Justin could take over and maybe earn himself a long-term deal as the starter there. But he also could just have a package of plays. I'm sure Mike Tomlin will still utilize the weapon.
This is where I push back, Greg, because we can give fans hope, but I'll just say this: the same issues I saw at Ohio State were happening in his 3rd year going into his
surrounded by better and deeper talent.
That's why I'm like, that's why you got to get better. And to take the heat that we did, and I know my guy Barrios was there talking about us, and I appreciate it. Justin has to write his own story, do the work. You can't just get over on swag. I'll just say that to you, Justin. Work. Shane Waldron, speaking of work with Caleb Williams back in 2017 when Caleb was 15 or 16 at the QB Collective. Thank you, Do It All 36. I had heard about that. And that's more a focused quarterback clinic. And Caleb worked with his now offensive coordinator of the Chicago Bears, Shane Waldron, who has this nice guy, excited personality. The people that I've spoken to say a lot of good things about Shane. We will see. We will see.
Well, and then the other thing, when you talk about, or when I was talking about how quickly Shane Waldron can act, not just the quarterback, but install this whole offense to the players here. Well, they did keep the offensive line coach with Chris Morgan. They're still running an outside zone system. They're keeping the same offensive line for all intents and purposes, with the exception of upgrading at center. And so for a lot of the foundational aspects of what the offense is, there is going to be some carryover. Now, the hope is that stretching the field, because that was my biggest concern leaving training camp last year. I'm like, for as good of a downfield passer as Justin is, where are these throws? Because I'm not seeing them. It was like, they're just working on the underneath stuff because they know he can throw downfield. Well, I'm sorry, you got to work on all this stuff at camp. I don't care what.
I don't do that with my
practice
team.
Makes perfect.
You know what? We're gonna skip throwing deep. I know you could do it. No, you're right, Greg. No. You go over and through it, and when it's there, you better fucking take it. We're gonna stop practice, and we're gonna fucking do it again. And none of that happened with Nagy, and none of that happened with Getsy. They just, okay, we made a mistake. Let's go on to the next. That's hopefully you guys give me different reports. Coaching is going to be hard for me because I won't be able to get to camp based on our camp with these kids. So I always depend on Greg for years to give me highlights and film.
I might have to get on the Amtrak during rookie mini camp and OTAs, unless they're going to let me in the building and get on the Amtrak.
Just as you going by.
I'll be in the trees up there in the marsh behind House
Hall.
Hall.
Bring your boy Roy back.
Yeah. Oh man, legend. Shout out to the legend. Yeah, we'll be up in the trees until they shoot me down. No, it'll be exciting here in a couple weeks. You got the schedule release, you got rookie mini camp, OTAs. So football is the beast that never sleeps.
Love you too, Funkster Jones checking in, sending love to Greg as well.
There we go. Appreciate you.
Appreciate that guy.
The Cubs just won in New York. Shane, you could have went to the game tonight. They played the Mets.
No, don't care about either of those teams.
I love the new hats. You got the hat on. You don't got the flat bill like I do.
Oh, I have
I love the new draft. I love the. Oh, you do. So I love the new draft. But I knew you weren't going to love the Bears.
Well, Caleb's bringing it back though.
He's trying to bring it back with his own little flair to
like
it.
this. He's bringing the claw.
Don't get
bringing the claw.
Don't get. So Pat, the designer, I think he was talking about Greg without naming Greg today. Or
Oh,
yesterday,
really?
I guess it was.
That's how we name names, Pat. Come on. Shane's cough break.
Yeah, when he was talking to Courtney Cronin, he's like, "Yeah, I look on social media, and I see people trying to get on, saying that Caleb didn't start this, that it's been around for years, and that was Greg's campaign with Kyle Long with the bear claw."
Well, my biggest thing was we don't have to argue about it. There is no debate that Don the Bear Man has been doing this for 30 years.
Yeah, absolutely.
Obviously, Caleb Williams could make it
bring it to the forefront,
national sensation. Like, if you take a picture with Don the Bear Man, you might do the claw.
Yeah.
There are people that
me and you are with him, and he's going rah.
Right. Like, even with or without the costume, Don's been doing this for 30 years. Like, do I expect every person to know the ins and outs of Don the Bear Man and everything he's done? No. I mean, if you're a diehard, would you? I would assume. But hey, some people are kind of new to this whole thing here, and that's fine. And Caleb's new to this whole thing. So I'm sure Caleb and Don are going to have plenty of interactions. Don's always around House Hall. He's the first guy you see coming out the tunnel as a player. And Caleb talks about ingratiating himself with everyone that's been around this for a long time. Well, Don's been around this for a long time.
He did it in the front row at the Lakers game the other night. Caleb did. You know what I mean?
Great.
So,
and I've talked to Don about this already. And Don would love nothing more. Like, Don's not trying to hold rights to this by any means.
So I'm lost at what was Pat's point. What was the shot he was taking at Greg? He's saying Caleb's bringing it back.
I think Pat's overall point was they didn't want people to get after people to be mad, saying that Caleb is doing this.
And I agree with that. Like, we don't need to turn this into a huge fight.
Right.
It doesn't need. I shed some light on it from my perspective and knowledge of Bears fans in the stands and what Caleb. But I also said this: we do not need to argue about this. Like, but if we've gone from death threats over who I think the quarterback should be of the Bears to some healthy debate about who started the bear claw, like, we're moving in the right direction back to happier times as Bears fans and media covering this team, because it got ugly there for a little bit.
Think about how insane.
I know Charles Leno invented the walrus, so we're all good there.
Think about how insane the past 10 days have been, and just think about what it would be like if Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears win a Super Bowl. You know what I mean? I just I know there's a step that we have to take.
We would have to take a picture of the three of us at the parade.
Oh shit. I'd be a hot mess. I'd be a hot mess that night.
So would he. I would have to keep you both under control. I've never seen anyone drink as much as this guy. Brags. I've never seen anything like it. I'm like, what are you doing, bro?
Yeah, I can get a little whiskey down.
I would have to keep you sober for most of it. Then by the end of the parade, you could do whatever you want. But that will be a time that I don't even know what to think.
Well, and like I said, Adam Mason going, "Oh, you pansies," trying to set it up, basically, like trying to goat people that were pro Caleb to overextend their expectations. So when they're not met, you can play the gotcha.
Right. And that's the funniest thing of it all, Greg. And I'm glad you brought that up, is because everybody, when they talk about expectations for Caleb Williams, it's always based on 2024. And that's it. And this decision was made for the next 12 to 15 years.
Right.
And they're basing
their guy.
They're basing everything on these next 17 games. But pump the brakes, we could have gave Justin that fourth year. You know what? It's such flawed thinking all the way throughout there. Whatever,
right. If you had kept Justin, you're pushing all your chips in on 2024. You took Caleb, you're pushing all your chips in on the next 10 years. That's the point. And that's not to say, and everybody, don't be a cow. Don't walk it back now. You wanted Caleb because he's so much better. So they should go to I do think they should go to the playoffs this year. I'm not backing off of that. I do think Caleb Williams will be I said it the minute we drafted Caleb Williams. I said the Bears just drafted the best quarterback in franchise history. Ain't nobody ducking smoke on Caleb Williams' expectations for 2024 or beyond. I do think that if you're being reasonable, that the team should have a separate expectations versus the quarterback, because you do have to keep an open mind to the fact that he's a rookie installing into a whole new offense with an offensive coordinator, all new moving pieces, not just to the quarterback, but to the team itself. So while we're all ready to hit the ground running week 1, and let's hope they do, I think you can be reasonable about it and try to keep an open mind, but that's not going to stop me from the hype machine. We all know how I get. By the time, I had Chase Claypool dominating the first 10 days of camp last year. Imagine the bullshit that's going to be coming out my mouth 10 days into camp this year. And we get an extra week of camp this year because of the Hall of Fame game. Instead of training camp starting July 30th, this year it's starting July 20th. So now you get an extra
before my birthday, Greg. You should send me
July 20th, our anniversary, my Jenny and I's anniversary. Happy anniversary, Jenny. You're going to Hallis Hall.
Jenny, hold the camera. We're going to Hallis.
We're going to Hallis Hall. Hold the camera. Help me.
Don't worry about a thing. Barb and I hold everything down at home.
Jenny can handle the line of fans that want to take pictures.
The other thing, here's the thing that you're right about, and this is it doesn't belong in expectation. It's just the reality of the situation. You've never had a quarterback, as you said, and we've talked about, he'll be the best quarterback to walk through those doors since Sid Luckman, as far as talent and throwing the football, right? But
Johnny
you've never had a guy, and this is where a lot of these fraud boys lost everything. They just didn't see it. They saw pink. They saw homophobic rants. They saw bullshit. They saw the fingernail paints. They saw all the bullshit. What I saw was a guy that wants to work at his craft. He separates himself from them because God gave this kid elite level throwing ability and athleticism. So if you're just watching this kid running 7-on-7 in versus whatever school, he's the first guy that's holy fuck. Then you put him in games and you're like, oh my God, this kid throwing the deep out, this kid manipulating the pot, right? But then you add the Tom Brady, the Michael Jordan type work ethic, and that's where I felt compelled to defend him and bury these fucks. And I will never, ever stop, because I know what it is for somebody to be great, but want to be the best. That's the special sauce right there. Walter Payton had it. Michael Jordan had it. Barry Sanders had it.
Right, because when you talk about when Adam Mason wants to say, oh, don't, hey, you pansies, don't back down now. Keep your expectations high. Go all in. Caleb Williams is going all in. So you think I'm not going to push Red Simpson? Caleb Williams is setting the bar high. Caleb Williams has 8 Super Bowl championships on his screensaver on his phone. Caleb's the one setting the bar of expectation for himself. And I love that. I love that about him. I just think that, it's only a matter of time before we see this stuff, and it's going to be fun to watch it all come to fruition.
It is. I just can't wait. I told Jim Larison, this was months ago. I can't wait for you to see what I saw in college play out in a navy orange and white jersey. That's your quarterback. You have never, I know, barring any injury, God forbid, this is something special. Like, I don't watch basketball, and I watch the college game. I picked out every best player there is. I did. That's my skill set. I can pick out talent. That's my skill set in sport. I could tell you, okay, who is this guy, Shane? This guy can ball. Like, look at his athleticism in any sport. But football is my God. It's my religion. And watching Caleb Williams and knowing that the Bears have a chance to pick the greatest that I've ever scouted, I just wanted our TTNL fans and Bears fans all around the world to be the most educated people, and took it as a mission. And now it's here. And a lot of these fraud boys trying to manipulate their truths, I'm not going to let that happen. I put too much work into it.
Like I said, just and that, like I guarantee there's going to be people in the comments having a show or whatever, people watching it now, whatever, that are going to say things like, let it go, this dragging it on, my guy Danikin, nasty work. You're still trying to create division. Ain't nobody want. I love unity. I love when we all come to a tailgate, come together and enjoy the team. I don't care if we don't agree. I enjoy debating football, sports, and Bears and everything in between on Twitter. That's what got me to the point I'm at now. I've always tried to do it in a lighthearted way. I don't take my opinion even as seriously as you, Phil, or Shay. I understand I'm a complete idiot. That's why I wear this meatball shirt with pride.
Well,
I know
your lane. I've always told you.
But at the end of the day, for this crowd that's going to be like, let it go, or whatever. Like I said before, nobody, when we're talking about holding anybody's feet to the fire about what was said through this process, every single person, I'll say it 100 times, that's wanting to talk about this let it go crap would be killing people if it went the other way. They'd never let it go. And they would stomp on your grave as they beat. I was threatened. Oh, when they keep Justin, you guys are done over there at CHGO.
We were threatened.
You're done. Okay.
No one got a worse.
Those thinly
DM than
veiled
Shane.
threats fell short because it didn't happen. And that's why when I came on and your guy Caleb Mann owned up to it and just said, hey, I was hard on you guys. He probably said, if he said he was hard on you guys, that means he was saying some real crazy shit in your chat.
Exactly.
I know how the keeping it 100 chat can go sometimes. So at the end of the day, he just, hey, I was hard on you guys. Now I'm all in. Cool. All right. That's how it goes. We're cool. Fan is short for fanatic. So to be fanatical means you're a little crazy. And we're all a little crazy when it comes to Chicago Bears football. I totally embrace that.
Been crazy about it. Living in Connecticut, not Boston, Connecticut for years.
Yeah, imagine that.
Imagine being around Patriot fans winning Super Bowls. Yeah, you got us in 85, but we got 7 rings. Yeah, it's tough to be loyal. Not for me. I don't know any other way than to root for this team despite all the negligence. Finally, you're out of it. And here we are on the precipice of looking back on probably one of the most historic drafts in the history of our franchise. Anybody grading it begins with A+ just by the number 1 pick at quarterback. He's the best player in the draft by a mile.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Phil and I did our fight night, Greg, and I ended up having the first pick. I took Caleb, and even Phil, of all people, he's like, yeah, it's all you won the entire draft just by your quarterback.
That's it. He's that good. And it's going to be
outside of that, Shane beat you.
Oh,
he already beat me.
He knows.
Okay.
He beat me with the quarterback, not with the rest of
the rest of the team? I don't know.
No.
I thought Shane's roster looked better.
Oh, it did.
That's why you fan, I plan. You fan, I plan.
But Shane's the GM. So,
well, we can look at the last few years. My teams have risen. I had the offense and defensive MVP last year. 1.
That was gifted by me, by the way.
Do you guys go back like 2 years? Do you save them?
And then never really did it till this year.
Go back.
Shane's got them all.
And then go back because that's the only real way you can.
I fucked myself royally last year because I was fucking around with Phil.
You fucked up.
Not
don't play around in the draft.
Everybody that knows TTNL knows my disdain for Bryce Young. So I'm like, I'm going to fuck with Phil just to have fun on fight night. So I drafted Bryce Young. So he had to pivot to CJ Stroud. Well, that blew up into my face in a big way. big way.
Yeah, took my number 2 quarterback.
Yeah, just a little bit. Only the best rookie year ever for a quarterback.
So there's a win last year. The year before I won. So this year he's gonna beat me because
I don't know if he won 2 years ago. I have that too.
You have to look
I'll have to look it
not
up.
this show.
I have to post them, but let's
The
talk about
Fighting Morianos.
Yeah, that was my
Fighting
name.
Morianos.
And
Did you
Nick
see that,
just
Greg?
lost his grandpa the other day. So shout out to
Oh.
Nick. He's out this
Sorry.
week. Him and Adam, our CHGO Bears team
God
is
bless you, Nick.
playing injured right now with Adam. His brother-in-law is going through some really tough times. I know that a few people have shared the GoFundMe on Twitter and on Instagram as well. And then Nick, lost his grandpa. So it's just like we've taken some hits here the week after the draft. Playing shorthanded.
Sorry for both of their losses.
As long as it's not non-serious cancer like my son had, Greg.
Well,
Jesus Christ.
he made. I mean, was it not? He made it through. So that little shit.
The Connecticut deer ticks had a name change this year.
Somebody called them the deer tits. Yeah, right.
Yeah, he's saying it was legendary.
What?
They were
Explain
the
the deer
ticks.
tits. I don't understand this.
I said the Connecticut deer ticks.
That was his name every year of the fight night.
The name of our fight night team.
Why?
Well, then the other
It was a
night
creative
during
name.
fight night, somebody's like, "Who's going to be on the deer tits this year?" And we're like, "No, it's ticks, not
Ticks.
tits."
It's ticks.
Do deers have
Yes,
tits?
yes,
Oh,
they
yeah.
do.
Tits or ticks? They have both.
No, not ticks. I know they have ticks. Do they have tits?
Tits. How do they feed their young?
I don't know.
Come on, bro. Yes. Those motherfuckers are sucking on those titties. That's how
Where's
they
Angelo
survive.
when you need him?
Angelo can break this down. Let's get our
Coach,
our lead
deers have
deer
tits.
tit.
That's why I love venison.
Our deer tit expert, Angelo, joins us now.
Well, let's talk about the next.
No, we're very economical, my family.
Let's talk about the next great debate from the Chicago Bears draft, and that is pick 122 in round 4.
The
with our
punter. Now, I said it for the record that we have to come away with this punter in this draft. So I
we
was
weren't
ecstatic.
against it at all.
I was
I did say
ecstatic.
I was on record with. I'll have to go back and look to see exactly who was available at the time. I am on record as saying that I wouldn't have done it right then. I forget who I was.
Well, I know a pass rusher went the very next pick.
Yeah.
I have nipples, Greg. Can you milk me? That's the perfect.
Yes.
Good job, Irish.
I was totally for it. I mean, to me at the time we only had four picks in the draft, right? Or five?
We had four at that time.
Picks in the draft. Yeah,
It
we've
was
got
our
5
last.
now. We only had
Because that
4
was
picks.
the famous Rappaport tweet. The Bears are back.
Right.
When we came back.
We only had 4 picks in the draft at the time. And as we were coming up on the pick 122, I'm like, well, we're not going to get a day 1 impact starter here reasonably. And then sure enough, they find one who all of a sudden, literally every person that watches this guy or analyzes this guy is calling him a weapon. It was like the common theme with every single analyst talking about him as soon as the pick was made. This guy is a weapon. From Scott Docterman of The Athletic, who covers Iowa football, every single game, called him a weapon on our show. Adam Hogue obviously has an affinity for special teams, called him a weapon as he was heading
I
back.
called him a weapon too.
Phil called him a weapon. Rich Eisen, the minute the pick was in on NFL Network, Rich Eisen calling him a weapon. Whatever. Rich Eisen, not an analyst. But at the end of the day, for Ryan Poles, I get everybody's talking about value and the type of players that have been taken at that spot or after that ended up being great players. At the end of the day, you found a day 1 impact starter when, as I said before, the Caleb Williams era has begun. The window to win is open right now. You are on, as Shane has pointed out a few times, you're on a rookie contract for a reason. So you want to talk about pushing your chips all in as a team, and you're going to go for it the way the Seattle Seahawks went for it with Russell Wilson.
Right.
Finding a day one impact starter, I don't care what the position is, in the 4th round, where how many times Dan Bozine, I'm Shane can rip off a bunch.
That was a 2nd round pick, by the way.
That was 2nd.
Right. Exactly. How many failed picks?
John Aquo.
Right.
John Aquo.
Yeah. Okwo. Yeah.
Okwo.
Stanford linebacker, 3rd round.
Right. So you find this day one impact starter.
Kevin White.
A weapon. 3 of your 4 picks, before we even traded back up, 3 of your 4 picks are weapons. Caleb Williams is a weapon. Roma Dunze is a weapon. Torrey Taylor is a weapon. I mean, you only have 4 picks. Some teams had 10 picks. He had 4. 3 of them are weapons.
Listen, I've been around Bears football a long time. I was on the record. You gotta come out of this draft with that kid because he's that good. He is that good. And I am not a draft a punter guy. He was on a different level of punting. Critical situations, he shined his brightest. He's a fucking weapon, as you're saying. And I want to make a t-shirt for TTNL. And I want it's somehow somebody make this graphic of, I was telling my wife, she kind of came up with it, the crocodile punter instead of the crocodile hunter.
Yep.
Somehow get it into there. I know Bullets wants his crocodile puntee or whatever. But the crocodile punter, Shane, would be a great TTNL swag piece to hang here. Because, listen, Torrey is a fucking weapon.
Well, Yerk talked about it, and he's like, there's not much difference between the number 1 punter in the NFL and the worst punter in the NFL. And I think that's a ridiculous statement to make.
Big
when
Steve.
Field position matters all the
Hell
time.
yeah.
I mean, that's why
Especially
Trenton Gill,
number 5 defense in the NFL.
Why Trenton Gill got released today.
Did he get released today?
Oh, yeah, they released him today. I mean, he knew it.
He got the guillotine.
Yeah, he knew it the absolute second that pick
We
went through.
knew it, right? That people were asking, "Do you think they keep him?" And I'm like, "No, he's gone."
What about having competition in camp, Phil?
No, he's gone because this isn't a competition now. This kid, you'll see. Greg will hear that shit. That's what I want you to do, Greg. When you go to camp, go close and film it with the volume up, and you'll just hear the ball just pop off this freaking guy.
That's what Pat McAfee said. He said, when I was watching the kid, I was right down there, and he said, you can tell just by the sound. You don't have to look
did he say
at
that?
anything. You hear the sound. And he's like, I turned my head, closed my eyes, and I listened. He's like, I couldn't tell you where the ball went. I just heard it. And I'm like, oh, yep, this dude's legit. He's like, you don't hear it with everybody.
And it's one thing to have a bad punter, and it's another thing to have a bad punter or a bad kicker in general in Chicago.
Oh, yeah.
Like that's a whole nother level, because
Holy
you not only need to be good, you've got to be very good to be an effective kicker or punter in Chicago with what the elements you have to deal with between weather and wind.
Stephen Nagishi, $5. Shout out to all 3 of you guys. Terrific work during the draft week. Stoked for 2024 season.
Thanks, man.
Thank you so much. I know Shane jumped on your show. We appreciate you being back here, Stephen, giving me another shot here as we chase greatness. Help our nonprofit, Greg, football team purchase new uniform.
Let me hit this QR code. Keep that up for a second.
TTNL record.
Oh, that's where it is. I couldn't find.
I think it's
the
closed
link.
now, isn't it?
No, we are officially sending out the paperwork on May 16th. So I talked to them and How about we keep it open for the next week and a half or so? Every
We have a
dollar counts.
slacker. We have a slacker in Indiana that hasn't.
Yeah, look, it
donated yet.
helped with Greg. Give.thetapeneverlies.com. First and foremost, to you people that have donated around the world, it's insanity. It's bananas. The reality of what this network means to you and these kids that you've never met. We have some serious. Michelle and Kim are two of our board members, and Christine, the tackle command. These guys are planning on doing some stuff, as well as me and Coach Fish, for you guys that have donated. These kids have no idea, but they're about to learn how you guys and where you guys are from, and they are making a TTNL sign. It's going on the scoreboard. TTNL Network Stadium.
Am I allowed to, if I donate as my note,
37 cents? Yes.
If I put, am I allowed to put my note as "fuck them kids"? Am I allowed to put that?
No.
Why? Come on,
dude. Say it on the show.
What if I put an extra 50?
Oh my God, Greg, droning on and on. Shut the fuck up, dude.
All right, for real. How many people do you think Jim Larison has locked in his cellar, in his basement?
I've been in his basement. There's none.
Yeah, but there's a
wine cellar. You can't even believe.
There's a basement below the basement where it puts the lotion on its skin, or it gets the hose again.
Jim Larison is one of the greatest dudes ever.
Absolutely.
Once the two of you get face to face,
yeah, right,
we are gonna get this boxing match started. Where he just started walking out the garage.
He's asking Jenny if he donates 37 cents. He just wants to make sure his card's not going to bounce tomorrow.
Give me a second. I'm looking for my fucking wallet.
What are you doing? What are you doing? You could do it tomorrow. You do it anytime. He doesn't want to forget. I thought he was the 37 cents guy. But it wasn't.
Yeah, I mean, I got to bust out my card if I'm going to donate $1.27. I mean, come on.
There you go.
It's big time.
Yeah.
Listen, $18.
Well, I had to suspend you for a little bit when you said
$80.15.
Dude, my good friend for 5 years texted me, "Go UConn" the day before the national championship. Not even Shane, who's a total asshole.
I am in UConn country.
You're you're supposed to be the heart guy.
I cheered for you last year.
The cold stone rock for a heart, and you.
Oh, that is just the worst clip ever. Why do you play that? How do you take that, Greg, when he does that? I just can't. I can't. I always root for you. No. But UConn, I was rolling with them. I was watching them all. I watched the whole tournament. I was planning it was going to come down to Purdue or UConn. And it did. Unfortunately, UConn won another national championship. Is this the first back-to-back national championship ever or no?
Since Florida.
Oh, yeah. Florida did it. Of all teams, Florida. Jesus. But anyway, I want to thank all of you TTNL fans. Chris Harold.
There it is.
Our guy donated tonight.
Thank you for your support.
Oh, look at you.
I didn't even put fuck them kids, but I want you to tell Nate and Devin,
Greg,
send them that message. They're old enough to hear that. I know they hear it when they're watching football with you.
Oh yeah. Tate was like, Dad, can I swear? Can I swear? Can I swear? I'm like, look at that. For what? I'm so excited.
There it is, Phil. It's official.
It's official. Boiler up, bear down. $14,000.
Greg didn't ask Barb for the meatloaf. He asked her for $100 real quick. That's where he went.
Don't make me those initial pancakes this weekend.
Man, I haven't had lettered pancakes in a while.
Lettered. There it is. Lettered.
Barb.
Daryl Daniels, Chris Harold. Shout out to you guys as well as my guy, Greg Braggs. Thank you, Greg. We waited all this time. Brett Maley in Vegas.
Yeah.
Brett Maley.
Tony Benefar. Follow him, the comedian. We're going to bring him back on the show. Ray Morris. Saw Ray in the chat. Melissa Ligon. She works with me. Look at that. Kathy Nuzzo.
Lovely.
Andre Zapata deserves a lot of love. Guy went 250 and he's like, fuck it. Let's get it over 14.
Now, if these kids don't win a championship,
bro, it's a lot of pressure, man.
No.
Are you gonna come down?
They Purdue'd it. They Purdue'd it last year.
Oh yeah, you know what? You're right. When they get to the championship, Shane, I know the text I'm sending this year.
Guys,
Greg's like, great. Good luck today, Tate and Dev. Don't lose by 40 like you did last year.
33. Still, that was the worst loss I've ever been a part of.
Oh, and that's how you know football is fanatical. You should have. I was broadcasting that game live. You should have seen some of the comments on that one.
Oh, really?
Whose fucking offense is this? Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
People were crazy.
Oh my God. We had a bad day.
Kid runs like an 8-year-old. This is ridiculous.
He is 8.
Yeah, he is 8.
Oh, you gotta love it tonight. Just going back, looking back with our guy from CHGO, Greg Braggs. Smash the like button. Subscribe to the channel.
You're gonna get a lot more than that, Keith.
You're gonna get a lot more than that.
Documenting everything for patrons to see.
I'm documenting and putting together a documentary type of thing for our patrons and the people that have donated. I picked out the yellow. I didn't realize.
How much does it cost to have my own play in the playbook?
That's a great question.
Another $250 donation.
the annexation of Puerto Rico.
Yeah. We will talk about that. Greg Braggs one play. We'll call it Braggs.
Yeah.
We'll call it Twins right.
No, we call it meatball. Meatball on 3.
Okay. The meatball. The meatball on 3.
Yeah.
So we'll put it in.
That's got to be where an offensive lineman gets the ball on the goal line or something. We're going in Matt Nagy territory here.
They do have a rule. You can't put a kid that weighs over a certain amount. I don't know if it's this. Last year they did for the 3rd and 4th. I think 5th and 6th they might have no restriction on size of the back. I got to check that rule.
Like baby Gronk.
Yeah, baby Gronk.
You retired already, right?
God, that was weird. The kid. We got some good kids coming out. Flag football. The Bears are 2-0. Greg. So there you go. We beat the Seahawks and we beat the Patriots to open the season.
Who do you think the Bears are going to open the season with? I think my list of teams are maybe in this order of probability are Detroit at home, because I just can't imagine they're going to have Caleb Williams start on the road to start his don't get him started. God damn it. I try to transition to some more fun talk. So I think it goes Detroit at home as the top possibility.
Yeah.
Detroit on the road. I think they're pretty even because to me, Detroit deserves a home game.
Were we away to open the season last year?
I don't know. I mean, no, wait.
No, we opened with Green Bay
because it was fucking miserable.
We're going to be away this year.
Well, that doesn't necessarily mean it. I mean, Caleb Williams' home opener is going to be. I mean, they could put that on Sunday Night Football against Detroit to start the year, and it wouldn't surprise me one bit.
Right.
Yeah.
Then you got
guess.
You got Detroit on the road as a possibility. Minnesota at home as a possibility, rookie versus rookie. And then you got the Texans or Washington on the road, whether it's Stroud versus Williams or Jaden Daniels 1 versus 2, but that's a road game. The funniest one to me,
I was going to
have
go to
the
that.
Panthers we do have the Panthers scheduled to be at home. And
That would
I
be-
would love,
Oh,
I would give the schedule makers a big old wet kiss if they'd
They
line the
should.
pit.
That's the fucking move. It gives you. And listen, this has nothing to do with competition. Nothing. Give me a doormat to open the season with. Give me Carolina, and drive the fucking stake through their heart even more.
Yep.
Caleb Williams' first game.
And you got the number 1 quarterback from last year versus the
Yep.
number 1 quarterback this year. The
That could be a
trade implications as the storyline baseline. Put them on at 3:00 on Sunday.
Those are my picks. It's either going to be Carolina or the Commanders. One versus
your
You don't
two
think it's
picks?
Detroit? I think Detroit's the
Yeah.
best possibility, personally.
Doesn't Detroit open the season?
No,
Oh, no.
I mean they
Kansas
lost
City-
in
I
the
thought it was Kansas City, Detroit.
last year. It was Packers play the Eagles in Brazil. Thank
Brazil.
God.
Yep.
Yeah, that comes out here in a couple weeks, and then I guess the other question is
I thought it was this
next week
for sure. I mean, have they given us?
next week,
I thought they said
Thursday,
that,
right?
yeah.
Next Thursday or
They
Wednesday?
haven't officially announced that yet.
That's what I
But
heard.
regardless, it's coming soon. That's for sure. And then we'll
Rob
find
Dibble.
out the date and the team for the London matchup. So, and
you're
know
going
that
to London, right?
yes, sir. I'll be
be
in
there.
London with the CHGO
Awesome.
crew. I won't have to sleep with Berlissimo this time.
I was just
That's
looking
a
at
blessing.
ChicagoBears.com, and they have
Next
pictures of the
Thursday, there it is.
2024 opponents, and this is just me, and it drives me nuts. It shows a picture of Cairo Santos kicking against.
Remember that conspiracy theory when Fields was
Yeah.
on the London?
Oh, you were.
promo?
Who are you? Dave Kaplan told me he had to call you up.
No,
after the
he
Kevin Warren.
called me while I was live on the air last week to gloat at me about
I
how
know.
I
He just got off the phone with
how
me.
I
He
got
was like,
worried. It wasn't about the London promo. That didn't throw me
No,
off.
it was the
The
Kevin Warren
Yeah.
talking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still
had to
stand by
smack
what I said, and that's if it were up to Kevin Warren, he would have ran it back with Justin and traded the pick. I
don't think
believe that, but it's not up to Kevin Warren, thankfully.
I don't think so. I think Kevin's all about Caleb.
So, anyways, back to the opponents. They have a picture
Yes.
of Cairo Santos kicking,
Yes.
and he's wearing a number 2 jersey that he gave to DJ Moore. So it's an old picture. I'm like, come on, let's step up our game.
These
a little
little
bit.
things bother Shane.
They
I wouldn't
do.
even have noticed that.
It's lazy. It's lazy. They should be
What
better.
number does he wear? Why can't
8.
I couldn't even think of his number.
Number 8. Yeah.
That's fucking crazy.
Bullets wanted him cut, by the way.
I just don't like Cairo.
He doesn't kick 90-yard field goals.
Boom, 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 boom. Bullets breaking.
Electric Boogaloo.
The electric boogaloo. Bullets was not a fan of Cairo. Cairo Santos has been what, the most consistent kicker in the Bears' history now?
Yes. Yep.
He's surpassed Robbie Gould.
Don't you remember going through that whole thing? When everybody
Jesus.
was positive Robbie was coming back and
Oh
all
yeah.
of that.
Well, I know he wanted to come back.
Yeah, big time.
Bullets wanted
Glad
Quinn
saying
State.
Bears at Detroit on Thanksgiving. That's a real possibility for sure.
Well, JMNA, I appreciate you following. Awesome TTNL rules. I'm glad you followed the right path. You had the golden ticket. You followed the yellow brick road. You did all the right things. That's why you're a better fan right now. He's doing it right. Oh my God. That's a great question, Greg. I am going to go with I think it's going to be the Lions. I think you're right there. I think it's going to be the Lions. I think they're going to encapsulate Caleb versus Jared Goff, and the Lions have been.
Well, don't forget
hyped up.
they've also been keeping a lot of the division games, the bulk of them for the. I mean,
The
I
end
know
of the year.
Yeah,
Well,
he did open with Green Bay, but
yeah, no, I mean, yeah, they do like to start with division games for sure. They like to end them too. So, you know, if it is Detroit, and then, Phil, do you think it'd be at home or on the road?
I think it would be on the road. I think they're
'Cause,
going to
like,
give
to me,
how about this?
like-
We don't care. We'll play you anywhere.
at the end of the day,
he goes back to where he was drafted, and he beats the shit out of the Lions.
Yeah.
Oh my
Detroit.
god! And then we have
Detroit gets
Gus
front row
Johnson
seat.
on the play-by-play.
Yeah, Detroit Lions fans getting a front row seat to the Bears party last week was a lot of fun to watch. But
Yeah, and their kill shot was to chant Jared Goff's name.
Ooh.
That
Yeah.
fucked me up
Ooh.
psychologically.
Yeah.
What was it? The Temu version of Ryan Gosling, right?
Yeah, well, and then
Dude, that
to
was
me,
so
if it is Detroit, because like, you know, and Adam Rank was on with us here on Monday, and he said it, and I've been saying it a lot too, and I know a lot of people have, but you know, there's a lot on the line for Matt Eberflus this year. If you want to talk about,
Damn right.
you
Everything's
know,
on the
It's
line.
the biggest question mark.
right. So, you know, when you were going up against Dan Campbell and the Lions, and Dan, who's very comfortable in his own skin, not afraid to stick to his vision on how he wants to coach a team, versus Matt Eberflus, who's still trying to figure out how aggressive he wants to be, you know, and he missed and flopped a few times last year that cost the Bears some wins. And you're hoping with the roster they have this year, their margin of error is a little bigger. But at the end of the day, he's going to run into a lot of those situational moments. And that's what Adam Rank was referring to was, hey, you still got to show me something. Because Rank, he had a good line where he was like, you know, he did take a little shot at Justin Fields at the combine, talking about, you know, I want our quarterback to be better in situational football. Well, you've got to be a little better, Matt Eberflus, in situational football as well. I did try to ask him that question at the combine, and he gave me a death stare from hell when I asked
Really?
it. But yeah, I just thought, hey, let's see what his answer is to a little bit of self, you know, evaluation. You know, you're always evaluating your personnel as a coach on the team, but as a head coach, you should also be evaluating the job you do. He didn't really want to give away too much as far as his evaluation of how he did in those moments. I mean, he owned some of those things, the dropping Justin Jones back in coverage against the Browns on a tight end with the game on the line.
God, don't get me.
He owned that mistake after the game, so I'll give him credit for that. I think early in the season, one of my bigger criticisms for the entire coaching staff, Luke Getsy included, and Matt Eberflus, was there wasn't enough accountability from my eyes and ears after some of those games, and constantly putting it on execution, which refers to the players, when you could also make a good argument that they weren't put in the best position from a game plan standpoint. And I've seen this the last 2 years. I mean, when you talk about the Giants game, punting on 4th down on your side of the field and then not getting the ball back, you know, because of a eventual fumble by Velus Jones, and continually putting Velus Jones back on punts cost them a few games, which ended up, when you talk about the divine intervention and the things that needed to go into place for the Bears to end up with the number 1 pick, that was one of them. But at the end of the day, that was bad coaching decisions. And so Matt Eberflus definitely has to, you know, show his hand this year as far as his preparation and readiness for these moments. Because Dan Campbell, he doesn't blink. And I know he's a giant meatball and he does some crazy things, but I got a lot more respect for a coach that knows who he is and knows what he wants to do. And if you're aggressive, be aggressive, you know, but I don't know if Matt Eberflus to this point knows exactly who he wants to be as a head coach. And this is the year to really put your fingerprints. Now, when we talk about there's a lot on the line for Matt Eberflus this year, there is, no question. But I will preface it by saying, regardless of the results, short of a colossal catastrophe, They need to give this entire operation from Matt Eberflus down 2 years minimum. If in 2 years you want to cut the cord on things, so be it. But I don't want to see any cord cutting after this season. You decided to keep Matt Eberflus. You didn't want to pay the money for Jim Harbaugh. Maybe he was never available to you in the first place. So be it. But now to give this every opportunity to succeed, and you want to talk about preaching about continuity, then you need to give this entire thing 2 years. And no matter what my crazy ass is saying on the post game, no matter what Phil's saying on his rants to start his post game, they've got to hold serve and see this through. Give it 2 years. Don't do anything reactionary after 1 year, because that's not a healthy way to build this thing up to where you're starting now, which is the Caleb Williams era.
Well, I couldn't have said it better. You get a mini rant out of Greg Braggs. I didn't realize my Facebook Messenger was full of people sending me these messages. I'm just catching up. And anybody that did, I wasn't ignoring you. I just didn't know there was an option that you couldn't.
I ignore everybody.
You do?
Yeah, even my wife. Like, if you send me a text, you'll be lucky if I respond within 3 days.
Well, you respond when Shane
Still
gets
doesn't have his
after.
voicemail set up.
Oh my God, dude. I've been complaining about him for years. Chris R, $4.99. Did you hear LH saying, sound familiar? When breaking down Spencer Rattler, it made me sick to my stomach. Who's LH?
Lawrence Holmes, I'm assuming, but I don't know what he's
Holmes.
referencing when it comes to sound familiar.
Oh.
The only thing I heard from Spencer Rattler was that video of him coming into college where he was totally shitbagging a guy while they were, at a camp before the season started, where he looked like a total immature.
They're saying that hurt his draft stock within the NFL.
It should have. It should have. I mean, and then if you fast forward to today, seeing what Shedeur Sanders was saying about a player that just left Colorado,
and then his father didn't help him out at all.
His dad is an embarrassment.
I'm a Dion guy, so
I'm not at all.
Okay, I like Dion, but at the end of the day, saying things like that, whether he's on your team or not, us against the world mentality, fine. But saying things like that about teammates or former, regardless, it's not a good look. And Caleb has been the exact opposite when talking about teammates talking about him, or him talking about his teammates, or the kind of leader that he wants to be, which, for all the naysayers and the people that were trying to steer us off the Caleb path, that was one of their bedrock arguments, was that
he's a diva.
The team hates him. Look at this video of them at the.
Have you watched the Arizona State football team crash on Jaden Daniels, bro? Like,
we played that here.
Yeah,
left.
Okay.
Get him out of here.
What you're talking. You didn't crack a code. You're not a coach. Even if you put your coach in front of your name, show me the tape. Show me your fucking face at least. Come on. Let's be honest here. This is a great question by Omar Barrios. Curious how they play Caleb in the preseason. Do they want Caleb to get as much playing time as possible? Or do they limit him to a standard veteran?
I think you know what me and Phil are going to say, because we went down this road.
You can't do this bubble wrap shit.
We went down this road years ago with Matt Nagy in the 2019,
This dude did it last year again.
Yep.
With the way he played, wasn't preparing yourself. Football is football. People are going to get hurt.
Right.
You have to play at least a quarter.
Yeah.
Then you come to a half.
Open the fucking Hall of Fame game the way that we should open it.
Just throw a deep ball down the left side.
Listen.
It's got to be a deep ball down the left sideline.
Yeah, but listen, it's got to be to a specific player.
Who do you want it to throw to?
Listen, you do it to set the world on fire. You have Caleb Williams throw deep to Roma Dunze on the first fucking play.
Yeah, but I don't even. Okay, that's fine. But it's almost equivalent to the screen pass that fields through to DJ Moore. Like,
oh, it means nothing, Greg. But it
right. Like I'd rather them. I'd rather
There's
them.
some clarity here.
I'd rather them go 9 plays down the field for a field goal than an 80-yard touchdown pass, because at least we'll see the operation a little more, and more importantly, he'll see the operation a little more.
The Bears need to do stuff like that more often. Just come out, and you don't even have to connect.
You will with this. I think Greg verbalized what I was going to talk about before I did. I can't have this coach hamstringing the greatness that this kid could be. You can't.
No,
you want to coach him. You want to be able to understand, but when he is about to play, you have to let him make.
This is different. This is where Ryan Poles coming from where he came from helps.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
It does 100%. And this is Ryan Poles' guy. This is the guy that
he
puts blood into the arteries of Ryan Poles and to save him as a GM. You're very rarely a second-time GM. Pretty rare. It doesn't happen much. We see the old Bears would have, we got to get a pass rusher here. Ryan Poles is like, nah, I gotta double down and give my guy an abundance of weapons. And you look back, I forget who said it here. You look back to when they got Patrick Mahomes. They went out and they still had all of these, Tyreek Hill and Kelsey and all of these guys, but then they still went out and got Sammy Watkins.
Right.
And all of the running backs that they had. That's the blueprint. And I totally understand, Phil. I had to bring it up because we've been talking about it forever. I just remember when Philly went out and got T.O.
Yep.
They played in the Hall of Fame game that year, and they came out on the first fucking play. Donovan McNabb went deep to T.O. and it went for a touchdown. And it was like that was the mic drop for the fucking season that year.
You set the
everybody
tone.
lost their fucking minds. It was like, no, fuck it. We're going to dictate how this goes. Look what we do.
Right, because and now how cool is it that the Bears will be starting their season in the Hall of Fame game in Canton as Steve Mongo McMichael and Devin Hester and Julius Peppers are inducted into the Hall of Fame. It's not like years past where you would have had 5 preseason games with the Hall of Fame game. It's only 4, so you're back to the normal 4 preseason games that you've had for, so many years before they changed it. So to your point, Shane, because typically no starters play in the Hall of Fame game,
right?
Like even from the first snap on. But why not? Why not let Caleb Williams let his first snap be in Canton, Ohio? Like you want to talk about symmetry or talk about a poetic start or storyline start to his career. Started in Canton, ended in Canton.
Absolutely, and every offensive player in warm-ups wears a number 23 t-shirt. Every defender wears a number 76 t-shirt on Hall of Fame weekend, warming up for the game. Yep. That's what you do. Those little things go a long way in creating a culture that we have not had here in a long time. We've had.
Well, that's where it was like. I know the Bears did this like production video with Mike Singletary, talking to Caleb and Rome, and that's cool. Mike's,
but that wasn't just the Bears. Every team did that.
Right. But I wish they would have used Devin Hester because all due respect to Samurai Mike, but Rome Odunze, even Caleb Williams, Devin is who resonates to them. And I get Mike's the better motivational
put Devin Hester in his top 5 wide receivers all time.
Really?
Rome Odunze did,
love him.
Which is fucking bad.
I'll tell you right now, Rome's getting a copy of the Devin Hester Chronicles. That is 100%.
Make a copy of that. Ben Hooper, $9.99. Hopefully, Poles told Flusy better get his ass in gear. Flus better have watched tape on game management and how to use timeouts. Yeah, That's what Greg's saying. Flus is my big question. We're going to see it even over Shane Waldron. I want to see if Flus is truly comfortable in his skin and setting the tone of what the expectation is for the whole franchise and the team. Kentucky Bears fan, $4.99. Thank you. Justin versus Caleb at the podium is night and day difference in energy and confidence.
Justin is way more flatline. There's not a lot of peaks and valleys, and
there's no comfort in his own skin.
I go back, and people can call me crazy. I go back to draft night, and Daniel Jeremiah, I believe, doing what Phil and I do and what Greg does. We don't have the benefit of actually sitting down and watching the draft. We actually have to go back after the draft and rewind and watch and listen to what they talk about our picks because we don't get to do it live.
Right.
When I went back, it stood out to me because when I was watching it, I'm like, this dude's almost on a sprint to get out there, Caleb Williams.
Oh yeah.
And it was like, it wasn't, I got to get out there because I'm craving the attention. It was, I got to get out there because I've been waiting my entire life for this. And it starts right now. I got to get out there. It's time to go to fucking work. He stared at all the Detroit fans, faced them, pointed to his jersey. I just loved it. That to go back to Ben Ricketts' question, that right there proves to me that it matters to Caleb, that he needs it. He cannot live without it. He talked to Tom Brady. Tom Brady said, if you want to get where you want to go, it's got to be football is first with everything. And to this point, it seems like it is for this kid. It's
always been that.
That's where I'm at. And with Justin, and I'm not trying to be critical of the kid, but it was very monotone and flatlined. And it was almost like he was going out of his way to keep it that way because he didn't want to show emotion. Sometimes he did. The one time where I was the most proud of him was when he came out and took a fucking stance and went back at the media, and then he pivoted and apologized 17 minutes later. You remember that was the whole
where he called out coaching.
Yeah.
You know,
and he was being honest. He was right.
Too much information, too much data.
Yeah.
And then, PR gets in his ear and says, hey, Bears Twitter's taking this and running with it. So then he feels like he has to clear it up. And I was with Twitter. No reason to clean it up. You said what you said, just stand on it. There's nothing wrong with it because he wasn't necessarily wrong. Does that mean that he was excused from any faults of his own through those first 3 games? No. But there was coaching issues too. They tried to do something they weren't last year to start the year. They went away from everything that got them the momentum they had to end the year prior and tried to make him somebody he wasn't. And they got tricked at training camp by what they thought they were going to be able to execute. And then to your guys' point and what we're talking about is why it's so imperative that you play your starters in the preseason, because then when the bullets started flying, they realized, well, shit, now we got to scrap it and we got to go back to what we were doing. Well, it took them 4 weeks, 5 weeks to figure that out before Denver and Washington games last year, where they finally were able to open it up a little bit for Justin. And by then, ultimately it was too late in a lot of ways,
Yeah, I remember the speed quote and it backfired on him. And listen, that's where we go. Shabla Khan. Shabla Khan. Shabla Khan. Let me rock it. Shabla Khan. Shabla Khan. Let me rock it. That's all I want to do. $5. In Iowa, we had shirts that said punting is winning. I wonder if our boy Caden Whitlow has one of those tees. He should be wearing it. Punting is winning. And he won them games just by his punting because the Iowa defense, where he dropped them in, was able to stand out.
And then Caleb texting him, "Hey man, you ain't gonna be punting very much
That
here."
was great.
That was so great.
Good
And
shit.
You have
what
a
was the-
superstar at quarterback too,
Yeah.
with a personality to go with it. You love Jim McMahon's personality. Caleb is the 2024 version of that. I think he's just a little more compassionate, empathetic, and thoughtful. Shabla Khan, $5. Poll said that they asked these guys, do you love to win or do you hate to lose? I think Justin Fields hated to lose. But Caleb loves to win. It's a great question, and that's how I answer it. I love to win. That's how, and I walk away. That's exactly how I answer that question. Because it's already assumed that you hate to lose if you love to win. That's the cheat code, by the way. Chubbs 82 is back, $10. You could tell Poles is putting into practice what he learned in Kansas City. He understands why Kansas City can replace players and still win. The QB makes people better. Justin didn't make the team as a whole better. I agree. I showed it. That's why I took the stance that I did. I didn't fanboy out and worry about the temperature of the fan base. I worried about the truth. That's what Shane worried about. The truth. Benjamin Hooper's back again, $9.99. And then that's exactly what you want to see in the air of a supreme confidence bordering on a little cockiness. He wants it. Even the way Caleb answers questions, it's a breath of fresh air. Listen. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I mean, the one thing I'll just say to that though, because I said this on CHGO Bears too, because I'm seeing a lot of this now, because we're seeing the yin and yang comparative to Justin versus Caleb and their demeanors. But I personally won't talk out of both sides of my mouth when it comes to this. Justin's demeanor was, like you said, flatline, never too high, never too low. You know, kind of had like this silent assassin demeanor of him. And that's how I always termed it. I always kind of looked at him the way I used to look at Derrick Rose, you know, kind of had that killer look, you know, and didn't talk, but would let his game speak for himself. So but I can take both ways. This is another Matt Nagy quote. Just be you, be authentic. I'm big on
authenticity is the key. You're 100% right.
So if this is who Caleb is, this city has loved guys like Dennis Rodman, but this city's also loved guys like Derrick Rose.
Yep.
You know, and they're two totally different personalities, but they were authentic to who they were. So I'm not going to hate on Justin for his cool, calm, collected demeanor, but I'm also going to praise Caleb for his confidence.
See, I'm the opposite. My quarterback has to be the heartbeat. I just felt, and I see it all the time. When a kid has that kind of demeanor, he can't be a true leader.
But that's what, like Willie Pete in the chat saying, can't be a silent assassin if you never do any assassinating. Correct. Derrick Rose's demeanor and this, I'm not going to dance with you, LeBron and Chris Bosh. We loved that, but that's because Derrick was a great player. And for Caleb and his cockiness and his outward personality and his eccentricness, we're going to celebrate that, but he has to win games. Because if he doesn't, that's where all of this stuff will backfire. It's all fun right now, and we're going to throw rose petals at everything he does right now. Caleb Williams can do no wrong. But if you don't put your money where your mouth is and start playing and start winning games and becoming the player that you're saying you're going to be, then all these quotes about 8 championships and all this talking and all of it will get flipped on its head and thrown back in your face. You can talk the talk, but at the end of the day, you got to walk the walk.
Well, and it will be in context because the tape will tell the truth. For me, I've been around this game a long time. There's a certain level, and there are outliers, I'm sure. I just can't think of any. But everybody that has a heartbeat knows that the quarterback is the most important position on a field in a team game. And a lot of times Justin was more worried about the way he looked in pregame than how the scoreboard looked in postgame. And I will die on that hill because the tape showed me that. And if you're taking photos of yourself in a tinted visor that you know you can't wear, and you're about to go off against the Green Bay Packers on opening day, and you're going to spend or whatever, you're going to tell Tony, switch my helmet out, put on my clear visor now. You're not in the right frame. Like, I'm sorry that you guys all laughed. I fucking know that sends
Phil's
a
got to
message.
get his last few visor shots.
No, clear. If Caleb wears his clear visor, which he will, he probably isn't going to go out pregame wearing the fucking Knight Rider visor before knowing he can't. You got to be focused on the fucking task at hand. Just didn't see the moxie when it mattered. Jeff Burton, $5. Can't wait for Drunk Santa later this year. Best guest ever. Yes, the Hall. The halls of Montezuma.
The Hallis Hall.
That's what we called it here. The Hallis Hall. We got it. And there's the visor right there I'm talking about. There it is. I bet you won't see that come Sundays in Chicago. How high is the likelihood of the Bears being on Hard Knocks? I say they piss all over George McCaskey's scooter and make sure that they are on Hard Knocks. I'd say it's a 90% chance that they're going to be on Hard Knocks. That's my bet. Shane, where are you?
I just think it makes the most sense. There's so much surrounding them. I mean, Jesus, you can put them on Hard Knocks just because of the draft.
Exactly.
Well, Sylvie wrote an article like a month ago, citing the same thing that Adam Hogue was reporting, and that what they both said was that there was a wink handshake deal with George and the league, that they agreed to go to London and agreed to do the Hall of Fame game, but then wouldn't have to do Hard Knocks. But then somebody tagged Sylvie on that just like 2 days ago.
Yeah.
And Sylvie said that he's hearing that the winds are changing now in terms of that. And I have my guy Gary Ross, who, you can laugh at this all you want, but hardcore fan who has a guy,
his name out there. I like it.
Well, he has a guy, and he's not afraid to put his predictions out there through his source, as he says it is. And he's been saying since January, I mean, beating me to death with it, that he's guaranteeing that the Bears will be on Hard Knocks. So I'm hoping he's right. To me, there's only 3 teams that qualify for having to do it. And the Bears, of those 3 teams, make the most sense. I think Arizona is the other team. They've already had.
They're not, Mo. That was something they're talking about doing, but it's not going to be done this year. They're not changing the format and covering a division. That's if these teams continue to try to play coy. And listen, the Bears have never done it. The Jets have done it multiple times. The Cowboys have done it
last year. How much we wanted them to do it last year. Imagine if they had done it last year, how disappointed we'd be.
Right.
The way that things have unfolded.
But think about George continually trying to avoid it.
Yeah.
If he had just done it, if he had just ripped the Band-Aid off and did it last year, then you wouldn't have to be in this spot where you might be forced to do it this year with everything on the line.
George, honestly,
they get the right of first refusal for everything.
It's never, if you're George or the team, because like I think even Cole Kmet has said on our show that he'd prefer it to not have it, and that's fine. But at some point, you're gonna have to do it. And it's never going to be an ideal. There's never going to be this year. It's like, okay, this is the perfect year. Go ahead and do it. So at the end of the day, just rip the Band-Aid off. I mean,
at the very least, you just embrace the fans that are paying for the possibility of you building the stadium that you so want. It's the fans that matter. So your hypocritical stance, George McCaskey, in allowing Bears fans a glimpse behind the curtain. I'm fortunate enough that I was able to be inside Hallis Hall. And mind you, the disappointment and the level of atrocity that the Bears were run by this franchise with Ted and George was an embarrassment. It's no wonder you've hidden from Hard Knocks. Like, that's my real truth. Who goes to Hallis Hall? Who goes to Hallis Hall and sits in the George Hallis room and only channel on TV is a fucking soccer game? I kid you not. You don't have cable in there. If for some reason we're watching soccer, they can't open the window shades because they can't watch the walkthrough. It's a joke how they ran it. So to get Kevin Warren and Ryan Poles in here and give Ryan Poles a bigger, amount of this, whatever you had going on, this mom and pop shop where football wasn't first, it's clearly that football is. Don't hide from it. Embrace it. Be on Hard Knocks. Tell every fan that this new era of Chicago Bears football is right in front of you, and that's why we want to build this new stadium. People are going to be more inclined to support a winner and transparency and honesty and integrity.
I'm just a fan. I'm not a football evaluator.
Exactly. Be a fan and watch the show as well, George. Who knows? Maybe you'll make an appearance on it once or twice. Last super chat. Then we're going to wrap it up. Rob Christopher, $5. Braggs, how is that antifreeze on ice you're drinking? Great show tonight, boys.
It's not antifreeze. It's water with a little bit of Mio. I had to do this Mio Sport electrolytes flavor.
Are they a CHGO sponsor?
No, they're not. No, they're not. They got a
You're
free
about to be
plug.
on
They got a
TTNL.
free plug here tonight. Maybe they'll send me a package for free now.
I'm going to support my guy's water, who's going to come on our show.
Give me some fucking names.
Anyway, it's a great time to be a Chicago Bears fan. You're usually in the honeymoon phase right now. We got married last Thursday night, and we had two of the best Bears.
Almost a week ago already.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
We got married last week. We've been on
last
our honeymoon, and we've been doing a lot of fucking.
Now, don't fuck this up. That's what they would say.
Now we got to come back home and see how we live together.
I love all.
As long as you love balls, we're gonna live fine.
What?
Hey,
I love Cherie's mom.
It's just so slick and skinny in a hole.
Yeah.
There it is. Slick and skinny in a hole is how we get down. Want to thank everybody who jumped in the chat. Over 1,200 of you right now. Smash the like button. Want to thank my guy Greg Braggs. We've grown in this together. I'm proud of you. I like a lot of responses have come in such a positive way, and I'll be transparent. I didn't know what to expect. There was going to be a lot of negative bullshit, but the CHGO people have come across over to TTNL and vice versa, and they were just saying, wow, that was an awesome show you guys did together. We need more of that. So, and then there was the breaking of the bread with the fighting Morianos and the fighting Marsaws. So that was great. And
Angelo, do you remember Greg Braggs?
No.
We're going to bring him. I was trying to bring him on tonight, but I've dealt with a lot today. So kind of crazy day. I didn't even know if I was going to make the show, Greg, with what I'll tell you after. But I just want to thank all you fans. Thank you, everybody that supported the Wolverine movement, the TTNL movement, Greg and CHGO and the guys over there.
I got it up.
There's a lot of space out here for good Bears content. And when these bullshit artists call me and Shane bullies. They're not looking in the mirror at the shit they've talked. We take out fraudulent narrative pushing bullshit when it comes to Bears talk and analysis. And we will always stand on that mountain forever and ever and ever. Greg, is there anything before we let you go that you want to promote? Or is there a show people should be watching?
No, I mean the Cubs going for 3 out of 4 tomorrow.
Yes.
Yes. They've got more wins than the Dodgers, but who's counting? It's early.
Oh,
All that's tough. $1 billion. What does $1 billion buy you these days? I mean,
Creepers.
That's right.
yeah. So
Not $1 billion.
obviously, yeah.
It's all
I appreciate
deferred.
you guys.
It's all
CHGO
deferred.
Bears all day long. We'll be there every day at noon, Monday through Friday. Do Bears After Dark on Monday nights with Corey Wooten. We continue that through the offseason, just like these guys. NFL never stops. So that's where I'll be, having fun at Wrigley Field, watching some Cubs this summer, trying to recharge the batteries as we get back to training camp. We get 2 months to recharge here in May and June. And then when July hits, full speed ahead to the playoff hunt and seeing what Caleb Williams and this new window of opportunity brings us. And hopefully it brings us a lot of championships and a lot of happy post-game shows and happy rants from one Philatosian.
there you go. I'm already happy. I'm ecstatic. Those of you patrons, if you're not one, sign up right below Shane. People always ask, like, how do I sign? TheTapeNeverLies.com. That's how you sign up. Just
I'm
type
out.
it in.
One other thing I meant to bring
Yes.
up to you.
Oh, okay.
Have
Go
you
ahead.
ever had Grinaldi's pizza?
Nope.
Grinaldi's Pizza? No, I have not.
Grinaldi's. Apparently, it originated in New York, so I thought maybe there was a chance. So when I went down to Arizona
Yeah.
to watch my Purdue Boilermakers get it to the national
there,
championship and get their face kicked in by UConn, I went with a guy, Matthew Gregory, who I was hanging out with and stayed with down in Arizona. He took me to a pizza joint called Grinaldi's, and they cooked their pizza just the way they do in New Haven, the same way.
Really?
Same
Yeah.
way. And when I was looking through their stuff,
Did
when
you
they
pay for that one, or did you charge that to my card?
Yeah, no, Jenny paid for it. And so when I was looking, it originated, the original Grinaldi's is in New York. And I'm telling you, and you showed me you showed me the light, some of the greatest pizza in the world in New Haven. So this is New Haven styled pizza
In Arizona.
place, but the original is in New York and it's called Grinaldi's. And I'm here to tell you, no disrespect to where you took me at New Haven, because they are it was almost like carbon copy of what you guys do in New Haven. This Grinaldi's pizza, we had the hot and honey pizza. It was the greatest pizza I have ever eaten, hands down, not even close. Unbelievable.
What is hot and honey? What is it?
Oh, that was the flavor. It was like,
what did they put on it though?
I don't fucking know, man. It was just
I
I
just ate
ate
it.
it. I just ate it.
Ate it. You're on mute, Shane. Hot and honey. They put.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Don't even bring a mom joke into this fucking. All right, we're talking about Grinaldi's.
I don't need to add anything extra on that.
He's so quick. Listen, TheTapeNeverLies.com. New Haven Pizza will trump Grinaldi's or whoever.
You gotta try it.
I got Matt Powell, one of our patrons, going to be coming down to New Haven. I'm going to go meet him at Modern. I'll meet anyway. We took our guy Eric Clemens, formerly of ESPN. Took him down there. He said the same thing as Shane.
Oh, not Grinaldi. It's Grimaldi's with an M.
Grimaldi's, yes. I've heard
Grimaldi's
of it.
Pizza.
Yes,
And
Grimaldi's.
there's a couple locations in New York.
Well, New York pizza takes a backseat to New Haven pizza. Ask Omar Barrio.
But I'm telling you, they cook it like New Haven pizza.
Yeah, they copy it. It's tough because the water in New Haven. I know this dude in California. They ship water from New Haven to make their dough, to copy. It was on a documentary as well talking about it. But again, we love the show. We love pizza.
We have this.
Breaking news. The Tape Never Lies Network. Breaking news.
It's the perfect way to close out the show. Greg, are you ready?
Wait, hold on. Austin Booker tape will be this week for your patrons.
Number 94.
Friday night.
Number 94.
He's wearing number 94. We will break him down on Friday night. The tapeneverlies.com. Go ahead.
Right, set the background, Phil. Get Greg ready to be all alone and isolated.
Isolate on Greg.
Fucking go.
Like this?
Yep.
That good?
He's got to do this for old time's sake, and then we're out.
Old time's sake.
It's not all on Mitch.